of the place where you can't go. The actual gray there is, yeah, like almost like maintenance points. It's pretty regular that they have to send. Can't think of the name of the people who specifically care for the city, but there are a very wealthy group of guilders who have to do this. Not a lot of people want to be that kind of wealthy, but there are people who are definitely shit wealthy.
I feel like the first thing John would do would be, check for tracks or scat or anything like that. Any signs of the rats being like which way they would be.
When you originally created your character, you hadn't actually had the Tasha's things set on there. I do actually want to make sure I switched it on. So if you loaded everything, you might actually have had other options to do your specialty different. I didn't actually have a chance to look at it, but I feel like Rangers can do a lot to actually switch um, their their target, like their preferred target and their preferred area. Um, I don't know if you've got those in hand, and I don't know specifically how they work right away here. But it is one of those things where I know it's something that they have access to. So we can kind of figure that out in time. But regardless of a role right now, yeah, you can definitely see tracks of like the rat clawed feet. But let me get a nature check from you. Um, yeah, let me do it. Let me get a nature check from you.
Okay, so just roll a d20, add my mod to it.
Yeah, I think what your modifier is +5.
For nature, you said
Yep.
that is a +2, and I rolled a 3, so that's gonna be a
Okay,
5.
okay, it's intelligent based. I got you. Yeah, we're gonna stick with that. When you're kind of coming down here in this first go, you can see at least the first signs of like rat feet and scat around here. You can confirm that while you don't necessarily see anybody right away or anything right away, this is certainly a place where you can find rats to be eradicated.
I'm gonna turn and look at remind me of your character's name again, bub.
Dalton, he goes by Dem.
Okay. Uh, well, Dim, I really can't spot a for sure direction, so pick a path and let's go.
Oh yeah, if you wanted to pay attention to like which ways they're going, I'm gonna say you're kind of looking at it's all of these ways.
Yeah, no shortage of rats down here, I'm sure, given what they're paying for their tails. Um, Dalton will, or yeah, Dem will make kind of like a show of being like trying to almost like picking at random. But then he'll kind of in the end suggest, well, I suppose South's as good a way as any for now, and he'll suggest we kind of make this first turn and start down south on this passageway.
Sounds good to me.
Would John like to cross and kind of follow behind the other two, or do you kind of intend to almost cross twice and kind of like almost just pivot to the south, where you're still on the other side of where Den is?
Yeah, I think I'd do that and then have yeah, because I'd want to be able to keep kind of a clear angle for the bow. So I didn't have to shoot past anybody.
Gotcha. So you can do so with advantage, having somebody else help you. But effectively, let me have you roll two checks here for yourself, and then two checks here for was it Wolf? So a total of 8d20.
Okay, the first one was I got advantage, right?
Yes.
Second one was a 15.
Gotcha.
I
So
think.
yeah, you could.
And
You make your
then
first jump, no problem. Kind of getting to like the south side after he rotates around onto the same as him, and then the second two. Okay, yeah, you can jump that one.
natural 20.
Bam. Okay. Um, take inspiration for the nat 20 here, please. This will not be kind of my traditional inspiration. This is simply when you would like to, you can give yourself advantage in all but name.
Cool.
That's going to be how we kind of play this moving forward for a little bit here. That is one of the things that they are going to kind of test for 1D&D, is basically a rolling inspiration from crits. When you crit, not only does it kind of swing things, but it increases the likeliness that you can crit again because you now have inspiration.
Okay, so I read a little bit of that play material. How do you feel about the whole I think it's essentially you don't double your damage die anymore and that you can't crit on like spells and stuff like that.
I don't think they changed the crit on spells all that much. As far as I remember, like the way I heard it described, I've not actually looked at the play material yet. But they made it so spells that don't roll the crit can't crit, is what I really heard. Um, as far as I'm concerned, if a spell rolls to hit, it can crit. And what was the other one that it doesn't double damage? I've not actually seen how they intend to do the damage.
Yeah, I read the same thing. Like, so like if you crit, so you do double your normal like weapon die, but like say if you were a rogue, you wouldn't double your sneak attack dice, or like if you, I guess if you smited as a paladin or something like that.
I actually think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that because, you get to call smite after your hit. So if you get a nat 20, of course you're going to smite whatever's in front of you. And then doubling up both damage dies, it just makes some of the fights just useless.
Well, I mean, one thing to keep in mind is I think with the Paladin one, it's very metagamey. It says don't use smite until you actually get a hit, so you can actually double all of that damage as well. It's how paladins do the highest damage in the entire game, is basically by being super meta about using their smites. And then the other thing with it's rough with rogues because rogues only have their sneak attack. But I can definitely see the reason why. The sneak attack isn't necessarily the thing that's hitting in a critical point. The sneak attack is also the fact that they can hit your spinal cord when they need to. And that's one of the things that I've always thought of rogues is it's not that they're like super deadly, it's that they're almost like doctors who are deadly. So when a rogue attacks you, they are always going to hit an artery. And if you hit an artery, somebody's going to bleed out, regardless of how quickly they can get medical help. Um, and you can't do that really, really effectively twice. So I kind of get it. I feel like one of the things to always keep in mind that I do think they fail at miserably is to always remind people like the rules are there for us to decide. Everything that they ever create is something that sure it gets published, but it's in their best interest to sell us more and more material. Whereas the game doesn't need to get more and more complicated just to make it fun. So a lot of people have their own particular critical rules, anyways. I, for a while, have actually leaned towards when you crit, you take max weapon damage. So if you attack with a longbow, it's 8 damage plus your d8 plus your dexterity. So it's as if one of those double damage dice is automatically max, and then you just roll normally. I really like that style. It's not technically in the book, and part of what I do catering to new people, I try to do a lot of stuff closer to how it's published, so people kind of know how to go to other tables more than people know how to play at my table.
Yeah, with like the rogue, I would probably lean towards like still maybe like limit it to once per day where you can double your sneak attack damage. Call it like some special ability like massive critical or something like that. But like in normally like once you use that one up, then it's just like it goes to you only roll the sneak attack dice once, even on a crit or something like that. I don't know. The one thing I don't like is that apparently I read that they were going to say that monsters can't crit you anymore, which makes no sense to me at all.
Wizards of the Coast does not want to hurt players. Their goal is not to hurt you, because you need to stay alive to love your character to continue playing this game. And that's why more and more they make the game impossible to have a character die. If everybody played a character who had a sense of healing or had like an ability to heal, it's impossible to kill a 5th edition character without criticals. If half the group has a character who can heal, it is next to impossible to kill a character in 5th edition, unless people like specifically avoid trying to heal you. And that's one of the things where, yeah, I think they forgot that the Dungeon Master is a player when they said monsters can't crit. I heard part of their explanation why is they're basically saying a lot of monsters have abilities that cycle. So, like a dragon's breath is on a d6, it replenishes. And Jeremy Crawford said, like, this is how they critical. I think that's bullshit. If that's where they go for it, if people expect me not to crit, I'm going to give goblins an ability that allows them to, throw a firebomb. And that's what they'll roll for every turn. But if I've got 30 goblins and I'm starting each turn with 30 d6 to see how many get those back, it's absurd. I think it's absolutely idiotic to get rid of monster crits. But I also think a big part of this game being fun is knowing that you can fail and still winning in the end.
That's what I was fixing to say. I actually love that fear of, oh fuck, this bid bag's about to crit me and kill my character. It adds an extra something to the game.
Yeah, like there's a lot of combats where I don't think there's any stakes on the table, and then all of a sudden I roll a critical hit, and it's just like, oh, shit just got real.
Oh,
No,
that
definitely
wizard's
agree.
fucking dead.
But like I said, I don't think Wizards of the Coast has it in their interest to actually endanger player characters. And I think a lot of the newer generation coming to D&D has no interest in their characters ever being in danger.
Nah, fuck that. I want the brutality.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I try to roll everything, at least physical things that you can see in front of the screen. Because when I crit people and I'm behind the screen, I feel really bad and I'm tempted to fudge it. I've played campaigns like that, and I have avoided killing people because I'm like, oh man, if I kill this guy's character now, he might drop out of the campaign. He misses, and I've got like a crit 20 like behind the table. Like it's one of those things where there's a lot of different reasons, and you can really never predict who's gonna be the person who's like, dude, I'm fucking more stoked than ever that whoever's dead. I'm creating a new character right now. And like a person who's just like done so. It's impossible to create or to predict. Why bother? Getting a little off topic there, though. Let's just get your other guy along that same route as you guys start to head down south into this tunnel.
Yep, sounds good.
And we're actually gonna have a couple little creatures coming up behind you all. Um, as you guys kind of like move down that side, kind of spooking a couple of like super zoomed out, spooking a couple of rats that kind of like jump out of little holes in the wall, coming out like from the water itself. And one of them is a little bit bigger than the others. It's like you go for the dragon. Oh, and it even showed up a little bit bigger too. So yeah, you guys kind of got three creatures running up ahead of you. I think they're probably about 15, 20 feet away as you kind of like round this corner and as Wolf is kind of making his jump across. Let me have you all roll initiative and let me know what you roll. Your sidekicks will follow after you.
I got a 19 plus 3, so 22.
6 for me.
All right, starting off strong. I don't know about you, but me personally, I almost like going like bottom of the turn order or something like that.
It's like more often than you think when I get a high initiative, it ends up just biting me in the ass. So
That I'm the same way, man. I always feel like I do so much better at the end. Plus, everybody else has already done their thing, and you can kind of it makes it easier to predict the flow of combat, almost like what you need to do next.
They're actually creating a feat, or they're modifying alert to change how alert works. I think alert will now allow you to switch your initiative with another character in the group, and that's one of those things. Matt Colville, one of my favorite creators in the D&D space, Colville had ranks in his like guild that the players would assume these ranks, and one of those ranks basically gave you the special ability to like you kind of like look towards your cleric and you're like, man, I got a 22, we need you going first and like raising your emblem and sending these skeletons running, and they like switch their dexterity with the cleric so the cleric goes first, or whatever you want to do, like when you strategically know how the group wants to play. I was stoked to hear that they kind of had that idea in mind, because that is a very, very like real kind of cool way to kind of push things. Is like the person who knows what's up in the strategy can almost like alert the right person to jump at the threat. But yeah, we are going to start off here. I'm actually going to have them go first here. Uh, One of my personal favorites is that I don't always start initiative at the top of initiative, because this isn't like a surprise round where you guys are completely unknown that there are threats about. Like you already saw like the rat scat and everything. But this is kind of a surprise in that they're hopping out of nowhere. So I was automatically going to start on their initiative. And that's one of the things that I like to do because, whoops, I can't do that and hold alt.
Jesus, fucking giant rat.
Uh, yeah, I like that this can actually resize things like very regularly. So that's probably a little more normal rat size. Roll 20 does not allow that to happen very easily. But yeah, like I like to start initiative sometimes in different orders, and it definitely sometimes pays off somebody who rolled low that they get to go next. Like person will be like, "Man, I rolled a 22. Why am I not going first?" I'm like, "Well, they've got surprise on you. It's just not like mechanically any different from the initiative starts on their turn." But we're gonna start off real quick here. Two rats kind of running up to each of you. We're gonna go for the first one on John and the second one on Dalton. It's rolling so slow, but it thinks nah. About to roll my own die if that continues like that. 9 on John. I think the rats have a +2. 11 should miss you. I think that one's gonna stop on the 5. Nope. On to the 13. Is it done? It's done. If it's 13, 15 should hit Dalton.
Yep, that hits.
Oh yeah, they've got a +0, so yep, my bad. Not a 15. No damage.
Okay, because a 14 would still hit, but you said it was a 13.
Yeah. And then this one's actually walking around like a human. So let's go for an actual human size here. And we're going to go for actually seeing who this one attacks. I think I might have to just start rolling my actual dice if these are this slow. 3 is going to be, what is that? Dem. So this one's going to go for Dem as well. I like to imagine I just made that miss by throwing the d4. But as it kind of like charges up, you guys are going to see. I can't do this while I'm pressing Alt, my bad. If I press Alt and move it, it duplicates the character. So it's just going to charge up. Again, this one looks far more humanoid. Basically, this looks like Splinter. It is a rat-sized human, or a human-sized rat. This one's going to like actually running across and stabbing into Dalton. It is advantage. You guys will see this water is not terribly deep. There's enough that it splashes, but not necessarily enough that it's much more than say like ankle high. Why is it rolling so slow? Like that didn't happen last time we played, did it? 6
No.
will miss as well. So then we're going to go top of the order to John Boy, and then your sidekick's going to follow behind you.
Okay, so John seeing this rat creature man thing run up to Dalton, I'm gonna pull my bow out and just try to shoot him in the back. So that's an 8, and I've got a +5 on the bow, so that's a 13.
Just kind of like plinks off with a little bit of like metal on its armor, and just kind of like flies off into the unknown. Let me have you roll a d4.
That would be
On
it.
a 4. All right, that arrow's gone.
All right. Okay, and then I am just gonna have the monk punch the little dude in front of him.
Gotcha. He's essentially like the one that ran up into the center has all 4 of you in combat right now.
Okay, cool.
So if you wanted, he's not limited to, but you can definitely punch the rat.
Yeah, just go ahead and get one of the little guys out of the way.
Gotcha. +6 to hit. What's gonna roll? Solid hit. His damage is like a D8 +2.
It's 2d4 plus 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's gonna crush it regardless. Um, don't even worry about rolling damage there.
Yeah, it's 6. Oh,
Any movement effectively from either of you two, but technically yours should be first normally.
no, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with both of them where they're at.
Gotcha. That will take us to Dem.
All right, so Dem kind of avoiding the little rat, and then as he's doing that, he sees this bigger one come up at him. So he is drawing out his rapier, and he's focusing on the bigger threat. So he will stab out at the larger rat. That will miss. Yeah, that's so that's him. He's can't really get out of there, but he's kind of Biff is following up similarly, stabbing out at the same one. That would be a 15. I believe they have a +6.
Solid hit. And what we go for, he's going to do a D8 +2.
Believe so. So that will be 9 total.
That's going to drop him dead as well.
And I think Biff will or Briff will basically he's going to leap into the little kind of stagnant water and move down this way, and that will be it for him.
You said you can't balance a D4 on the peak? The digital die roller that sits on its peak is absolute shit. So I'm going to attack Brifford with it. A 13, I think, is inside of where we said his AC would be. It's going to do 1 damage to him. So just a con save. You need a not 1.
So I think for Briff, I thought you had said 16, but I'm good with whatever you want to go with.
Oh, yeah, that works. Yeah, go for it. So it just kind of like bites into some of his armor. Um, Not going to do anything there. And it'll go back to John Boy. You guys should be able to clean up this rat without a problem. So as far as I'm concerned, you guys can just kill this little guy.
Yeah, I think John's just gonna walk up and kind of like stomp on him.
Never seen one quite that big before. Kind of, Don will say, gesturing towards the one that Briff put down.
You ought to see some of the things I've seen in the woods.
Well, I'll take your word for it. And meanwhile, Briff would be, I think, after kind of with John dealing with that last little rat, he will be moving to kind of sawing off the tail of the larger one.
Yeah, John will probably grab the whatever remains of the boot rat off the bottom of his boot and cut the tail off of it.
Gotcha. And Briff at that point will cut the tail off of the other small rat. So kind of same idea. Just in general, keep track of how many rats y'all have. But effectively, you've got 2 smaller and 1 large rat tail here.
Didn't you say there was like a note taken thing on here?
I'm pretty sure the note is the kind of bottom on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, underneath the almost looks like a little teardrop kind of thing.
All right, cool.
And I'm assuming, like with like them or somebody helping him, there wouldn't be any difficulty with Briff getting back up onto the walkway, right?
Yeah, that is like a higher step to get out of. But again, it's pretty low water there. It's not like deep water. So, taking those tails, are you all looking to kind of push forward, continuing to the south here? Do you have any thoughts where you're going at this point?
I say we just keep going south.
Yeah, Delton agrees.
So, as you're moving to the south, what are you all doing here? Are you just kind of looking for the next T in the crossroads to see your next crossroads? Are you all kind of moving quietly, trying to listen? Are you kind of moving, taking a look over tracks? How are you approaching this kind of like movement through the sewers?
So Delton is he's got the torch, the lantern out in one hand. He's got his blade out in the other. He's not really he's almost thinking like the rats will find them. So he is, and he's not particularly, skilled in terms of tracking. So he's kind of depending on John for that. So he's kind of just like moving forward, probably trying to not get too far ahead of John, kind of trying to keep pace on the other side of this walkway. And he's essentially just kind of continuing on, trying to keep his eyes out, but not looking for anything in particular, just trying to stay generally alert. And Briff is the same way.
I feel like I'd be kind of the same. I'd be keeping an eye out, making sure there wasn't any obvious holes in the walls that we would something might pop out at us from, and I'd just keep an eye to the ground, kind of looking for tracks, making sure there wasn't something that was really off, like another larger rat or something like that, as we made our way south.
Did that come out? Right now you've got Wolf in front of John. Was that your intention that he was leading you?
No. Sorry. Hold on. Let me
Gotcha.
kind of
So good. Let me get a survival from John. Or you could do perception.
Let's do perception and turn that into a 7.
Gotcha.
And the tradition of me rolling shit continues.
So you guys can cover another section of this area, moving down through the sewers, eventually kind of getting to a point where the water has essentially kind of stagnated, and there's kind of no flow in this actual line here. Looking around, there doesn't seem to be any other signs of any other creatures in this area, nor really anything that's kind of any other immediate threats. Let me get a round of perceptions from all of you here.
So 2d20s each, or just one?
Technically, just from both of your main characters.
That's a straight 2 for Dalton.
That is a 16. Without modifiers.
You also see Dalton periodically as they're walking, just kind of making it almost kind of weird, a weird gesture, and kind of whispering a little under his speaking, and kind of doing this gesture under his nose. Essentially, he is Mara. He's casting prestidigitation periodically to just give himself a little whiff of something a little more pleasant than the odors down here.
John's just kind of gonna give you the side eye and what the fuck is wrong with this kid?
God damn it. Moving down this point, you all are starting to see signs ahead of you of the next crossroads. There's no real signs of things at this point. When you go to approach that crossroad, there's a little bit more of a flow of water coming from that direction, and you spot at least a little bit of a sign that at some point between this junction to the south of you and the junction beyond you, the water that is coming into this section of the sewer is not continuing anywhere. It's going somewhere beyond sight.
That looks a bit odd.
If we try and listen, is there any way to tell? Does it sound do we hear the sound of falling water, or is it anything odd in the sound that suggests where it might be going?
Let me get investigations from you both.
What'd you say?
Let me get an investigation from you both.
8 for Dalton.
That will be a natural 1. John's got his finger in his ear trying to dig out a gnat or something that flew in there. Huh? What?
Not sure how to have you fail so miserably. I'd say, I guess maybe the actual sound of the east-west flow or the west-east flow. That's kind of the water that you can hear. You guys can more or less spot that you're kind of in the area where the water is disappearing. It's just kind of hard for you to actually figure out whether it's grout in between the actual stonework, whether the rock itself is porous. You're just kind of coming to the conclusion that somewhere in that area, the water is draining out. It's just not necessarily that you can tell where. And it's certainly not auditory.
What do you think, John? Should we try to find where it's going, or continue on south? I'm all right either way.
Oh, finally got it. As he flicks a bug out of his ear. And no, I think we should definitely try to figure out where this thing is going. And he's gonna walk more towards the south, and I'm gonna look at the walls and like the floor again, and try to see if I can't, spot like an opening or something on this line that I'm on.
Let's see. We've kind of already had you kind of spotting around what you can see while you're doing this. You've already tried to kind of listen and try to kind of extrapolate from like more of your kind of sensation around. Let me have you expand on what you're doing. Do you want to like do something where you're trying to actually look for tracks and see if there's some sort of pattern within the tracks? Do you want to do something like kind of tapping on the walls and try to listen for like an auditory sound within the stone? How can you expand on this search beyond kind of the fail points you've already hit?
Yeah, I think for sure he'd be looking to see if there were any tracks or anything near a certain point in the wall, like maybe something had hollowed it out and been going in and out of there. As well as kind of what you just said, every once in a while he'd grab like the knife off of his belt or something and tap a brick to see if he could hear something hollow behind it. Instead of just listening, trying to find it, he's actually physically gonna go like touch the walls and stuff and push on them a little bit, stuff like that to see if he can find a hole anywhere.
And is there any sort of like north to south or south to north current, or is this water stagnant, fairly stagnant, like as they're coming down this way?
That's kind of what I meant, where like the water is almost flowing in this direction, and when you guys were on this side, it was flowing in that direction. So there was like a soft flow, and then this circled area was like stagnant. And when you guys get to this corner, like get within sight of it, that's where you could see like the water is flowing from the south to the north, but you guys are still in an area where it's like stagnant. So like there's flow that should be going somewhere, and that's kind of the mystery at hand there. Let me get either a perception at disadvantage from John or another investigation, and that one can be straight.
I'll do investigation. And that is going to be a 19 flat.
So at one point, while you're kind of tapping on the wall, kind of as you get back, whoops. At one point, while you're tapping on the wall, this is going to duplicate you. Fucking alt.
You ever tried
Around
not hitting
when
that button?
it's my push to talk. That's one of the things. Like, there's no good to push to talk button. But I love push to talk too much. It works far too well. It zooms in roll 20, which I've kind of gotten used to. Obviously, in Owlbear Rodeo, it's like a duplicate button, which would be really useful if I needed to duplicate stuff this often. So at one point, while you're kind of moving along the wall and you're just occasionally touching, like tapping, there's just going to be a point where just kind of like tapping the point of your dagger, you're just going to like kind of hit some grout, only it just kind of like slides into grout like it's moss.
I'm gonna holler back down the tunnel. I might have found something, and I'm just gonna like take the tip of my boot and just press the bricks around it to see if I can get any of them to like cave in.
Gotcha. So you're just like almost foot up onto the wall, just trying to like put pressure on them.
Yeah, exactly. Not crazy hard. I'm not trying to kick the shit out of it or anything. I'm just trying to see if any of them are gonna move.
Roll a strength check. Yeah, you don't have athletics, so just strength. Think of just a straight D20. That's the 16.
Yep, and my strength has a +2. Well, that's saving throws. So yeah,
Gotcha. So
just straight 16.
as you kind of like push a little bit with your boot, there's just going to be like a little bit of kind of a grinding noise, but not even enough that like a brick sliding on top of another brick would make. This is like brick against brick, but with something like lubricating this joint or something making this smoother. But as you push a little bit harder, you start to see like this is opening up. It's not going to be a doorway, it's going to be a crawl space. But effectively, you kind of open up a little bit of a entryway in front of you.
I'll turn and look at Dim and be like, you want to go first?
Well, not particularly, but I can probably squeeze through. And Dem is going to kind of move up. He'll probably like hand off the lantern to Briff, kind of ask, for some help climbing back up to the other side. And then, assuming he thinks he can kind of squeeze through, he'll ask maybe just like Brift or somebody to hold the light behind him so he can see and try to. He'll probably need to sheath his weapon and then try to, yeah, kind of get down um, and a little tentatively putting his hands on like the ground, but he will start to see if he can kind of um, crawl through into the opening.
Gotcha. So let's take a quick break here. Let me get this kind of switch set up and we'll jump back in on this in um kind of in the long run. I'm gonna take at least like 5 minutes. If you guys want to take 15 and we come back at 4:45, that's fine. If we all get back sooner, we can jump in a little bit sooner.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Sounds good, Bubba.
I swear I tested this so it could work and then I failed at it.
Sounds like the story of my life.
Oh, Mara, I wanted to ask before but I forgot. You use the variant encumbrance rules?
Yes.
Okay, so
Part of that is assumed. I didn't actually say it to you guys. It's kind of assumed on some level. You are not carrying your backpacks with you at all times. When you guys are rocking out your backpacks, you might bring them with you into a place like this. But the moment you actually feel danger, you don't want that on you because, yeah, it is encumbering to have. I think variant encumbrance gives you 8 pounds per strength that you have.
okay, I think the way I thought it was like, so you get 5 pounds for strength, and then over that you're encumbered and your speed drops, and then there's like heavily encumbered, which is the normal 15.
That sounds right. I always forget like what the actual number is, but yeah, 5 sounds right.
Okay, and then I'm assuming would it be an action to essentially shrug off like a backpack because Dalton is not a strong guy, so he is even not carrying much. He is encumbered at the moment.
Pretty much everybody is encumbered with starting equipment in variant encumbrance. But yeah, that's basically the goal. It's not necessarily going to be something that you have to worry about as far as action economy goes. But for one, like crawling into this space, you can't do that with your backpack anyways. But effectively, yeah, it's probably about an action to take it off.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So now, for now, I'll try and remember as well. But his movement speed is 20 feet in combat. If they
Yeah, kind of what I was getting at though is there's certainly the idea though, like you would know kind of what you want to take, and you can take that with you. That you're not always carrying everything with you every day. Another thing to keep in mind in Ptolus is you should have approximately like 3 purses on you. You want money that you access regularly, money that you might access to buy something a little bit more expensive, and then the vast majority of your money. Because there are pickpockets in a town like this. Walking around in the city is a dangerous thing to do. Um, you actually know one of the guilds of pickpockets, the Killraven Crime League.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've been moving some stuff that he wouldn't have brought with him, but yeah, just with like the leather armor and the weapons and stuff is almost.
My whole thing is, why the hell are rations so fucking heavy?
They're
Like,
effectively hardtack, and also one supply of rations is enough to eat like 3 meals in a day. And that's part of like why it's just a very, very dense food. And then when you think about how often you actually have to eat to not get kind of like exhausted from hunger, it's also basically that's enough to survive technically like 2 days.
All right, cool.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I guess essentially, basically, it's like normally you're expected to be eating about 2 pounds a day in rations.
No, no, no. Like 1 pound, right? Isn't that what they are? 1 pound per ration?
It's two.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think it's two. Yeah, because I have 10 pounds and I have 5 rations on me. Yeah.
Yeah, so what is that? Like 3 meals of like 5.5 ounces, kind of?
Yeah, you figure like if yeah. Yeah. I mean yeah, it seems seems right. And it's like I guess just like the kind of thing, like if you know you're only going down, only plan to go down for a day, then you don't take like 5 or 10 days worth of rations. Of course, then you get stuck and then you're kind of in trouble, but then you have to start eating the rats. But
Yeah, I just think variant encumbrance makes so much more sense, like for kind of a realism. And again, that's one of those things where I think fifth edition is aiming towards like superheroes instead of kind of like real people in a magical world.
yeah, I mean, I like me personally, I like some of like the having to like inventory management stuff, but it's probably something like if I was DMing and like I had a bunch of new players, I probably wouldn't spring that on them unless they were cool with it.
Well, it's also to combat like the idea of um like a fighter who carries like one of every weapon.
Right? Yeah. It's like I have a warhammer and a longsword and a hand axes. Yeah, it's like where are you carrying all this stuff?
Snake Plissken, it's up my ass. Did you ever play Metal Gear Solid?
No, but that's fucking hilarious.
That was one of the first games where I was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing to store all of these weapons?
Yeah, that's when you get a hireling or something whose sole job is just carry around all your spare shit.
And that's actually precisely like the aim of it. I really do like the idea to try to like get back towards like old school D&D, and that's precisely what hirelings were. There were hirelings that you could like hire for combat reasons, but there were also hirelings that their entire existence was, hey, you're to carry gold as we loot stuff. Like you're not going to be like in the front of combat, but you're going to be right next to it cuz when we find shit, you're carrying it.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess that's also where like a mount would come in handy, even though like the mounted combat rules are like, kind of tough to actually run combat, but in terms of like being able to carry stuff, that's where one would come in handy. Obviously, not so much in Ptolus, probably in the city, but
There's definitely a lot of ground to kind of say, like, this game is designed for you to be standing in a small dungeon. It's the same kind of thing as like an archer when you try to actually like um, take everything to long range combat. It's just like, what's the point of the game if you're going to be shooting everything at 600 feet as just sharpshooter? If you want to fight stuff at range, we can just not have combats because it's not going to be entertaining. But like from me as from like a realistic perspective, I also think about the fact like part of why I feel like something like sharpshooter shouldn't get to ignore every bit of like the range, like their long range negative, is the fact that if you're shooting at something 60 feet away, that's like instantaneous. If you're shooting at something 600 feet away, I think the average bow is flying at something like 77 feet per second. So you're looking at like 7 seconds, 7 to like 10 seconds from now when that arrow is actually going to connect with your mark. So you're not just shooting at it, you're shooting at where it's going to be in the future.
Well, that and even if you're shooting at a stationary target, let's say fucking Jimbo the Bandit's on guard on the wall. What happens if he bends over and scratches his ass in those 7 seconds? Then you just fucking whiff.
Yeah. So that's some of the biggest reasons why every once in a while, like let's be honest, there's certain parts of combat in this game where it just doesn't work.
Yeah, there's definitely a good amount of suspension of disbelief.
I love how you're like atting me on my feet.
Wait, what's that? Sharpshooter?
Yeah, bitching about that feat in particular.
I mean that it's just one of the things like sharpshooter is one of the feats that I have considered in the past just getting rid of entirely. I feel like it is one of, if not the most powerful feat in this game, let alone that ranged combat is getting close to that point. Because like warlocks can do it as well with there's the ability that I've used with my bards to grab the warlock cantrip, and it doubles your range. So all of a sudden, like a warlock can shoot somebody who's like a quarter of a mile away, and it's just one of those things. Like, what is the point of combat if you can just fight whoever you want from a quarter of a mile?
Orbital strike warlock.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I just took it for there's no really good like close combat archery feat. And that's what I'm building this guy as an archer. The only other like archery feat there is crossbow expert. I think is the
Yeah,
one I'm thinking of.
yeah, they had one like almost like melee archer type kind of thing where like, okay, so yes, you ignore the 5 foot, thing, but you don't get all the sharpshooter stuff.
Yeah, that's crossbow. That's crossbow expert. So you ignore the loading quality of crossbows, which means you don't actually have to take. I think it's a bonus action to cock it back, or is it a full action?
It's actually limited to you can only shoot once per turn.
Right. So it ignores that, which is great. Which Artificer does it too, which is awesome with that infusion. That's basically like you have infinite magical ammo, and then it ignores the 5 foot rule that gives you disadvantage. And when you use the attack action and attack with a one-handed weapon, you can use a bonus action to attack with a hand crossbow as well.
But a crossbow, the loading isn't actually anything to do with your ammo. I'd be interested to read like the artificer version of that. Because a crossbow is like cocking the crossbow. You put the bolt in after that. It's not actually the bolt that takes time to load. I'd be curious about that one. I feel like with a bow, it makes a lot more sense that an artificer can just always have that magical arrow in hand. But like a lot of crossbows, it's basically that you have to take the crossbow off of your shoulder, put your foot through the actual like pull area, so you can pull the tension back, or you're like cranking to be able to pull the tension with those cranks. That's why crossbows take more time.
Yep. This one, this is the infusion in particular I'm talking about. And I used it on Zaps all the time whenever he was using a crossbow. It's called Repeating Shot. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made when it's used to make a ranged attack, and it ignores the loading property. If you load no ammunition in the weapon, it produces its own, automatically creating one piece of magic ammunition when you make a ranged attack with it. The ammunition created by the weapon vanishes the instant after it hits or misses a target.
Yeah, that's just one of those things where I feel like Wizards of the Coast is all about breaking open their shit. Like, the entire point of the loading property is that you're, like, pulling the crank back on a crossbow. It's not, I don't know. I have issues with a lot of things that Wizards does, and in my opinion, it's purely because they allow power creep to sell books.
Yeah, that's even I'll admit, like I loved the cantrip when I was playing an artificer, but that shit's busted, man. You basically get a semi-auto crossbow.
Yeah, they should basically say, like, there's no string on your crossbow. It is a magical string.
Yeah, it's just like bat, bat, bat. You know, if you have 3 attacks
And
in one turn, you get 3 crossbow attacks, which is strong.
yeah, and it just kind of gets me back to, I don't think fantasy is about having somebody who has a semi-automatic gun. I think fantasy is about playing a medieval world that has magic. And that's part of why, to me, artificers fit steampunk worlds a lot better than they fit fantasy. And it's the same kind of thing as I'm really not a big fan of the robot people. I feel like they fit a steampunk world much better than they fit a fantastic world or a fantastical world. So you guys should be able to see the little crawl space ahead of you here. I think we basically had Dem crawling in first, and you can kind of see, like, as you crawl through, um, it opens up into a little wider area. Oh man, it auto sets the sizes. I feel like that is way too small or way too big. It's crazy. I loaded the wrong map a few times and it was 77 by 100. This map is pretty much the exact same map as the other ones. A little bit different, kind of how everything works. But it loaded this one at 126 by 25. So give me a second to adjust that. If you wonder why I switch you off the actual map, it's because with Owlbear Rodeo, I actually have 2 versions of it open. And part of what I'm doing is adjusting the other map on my other setup. And then it like auto updates over to this one. It won't let me throw away Den, so I'm not sure what that means. Okay, that looks a little bit more sized properly though.
He is immortal. He controls the program now.
That's what it has to be. It's like, bro, that's not your counter. I'm like, I'm the DM. I should be able. Oh wait, that one isn't the DM. That's what it is. No, it's the DM of that game. Yeah, that's definitely weird. I'm confused. But you should be able to drop yourselves on this one. As you're kind of crawling through here, Dem, you can see that it kind of opens up. There's a little bit of like a stairwell into this area. You don't actually hear any sounds of this water. The water actually coming through here is definitely kind of into the rocks. So you're still kind of hearing water from out and about. And it's still kind of in that level of you can't quite tell whether you're hearing the actual flow of water in this place or whether water is kind of flowing through some of these caves. You can see a little bit of the actual opening, like kind of cavern going off to like the left of you. Most of the cavern kind of opens up straight ahead of you, and you're just kind of like looking into darkness there. But I could potentially, I think, remove this next piece, and you can kind of see that there is a door, probably about like 40 or so feet straight ahead of you, that seems to be kind of like a cast iron steel, um, like grate almost across the wall, like a portcullis or like a kind of prison gate.
So yeah, so Dalton kind of will crawl through once he's able to kind of stand back up. He'll kind of let the others know he doesn't, nothing is immediately come out to attack him, so that it's okay to kind of follow him in, and he'll wait for them to join.
John's gonna kind of sidle up beside him over here and just start looking around, seeing if there's anything he can see on the walls or on the floor or anything like that. After the obvious, well, that's fucking odd.
Let's get a couple of perceptions from y'all.
That would be a natural 20.
6 for me.
I'm pretty sure it is part of their intention with how inspiration is going to work. Where you already have inspiration, you can give it to Dalton, or you can simply lose it. I think you have the answer to that, though.
Yeah, nah, give it to the other guy for sure. Ah, fuck this guy. He can't have it if I can't have it.
So kind of looking around here, you guys can see that there is definitely plenty of signs of kind of like the rat droppings around this area, as well as the actual footprints. There's much more sign in this area than perhaps the last, where you can see this is probably going to be some sort of a rat nest that you guys are kind of coming upon here. And among the sign, you can probably start to come to the realization that a lot of these footprints are upright rats, and some of the larger ones. So uh, maybe a little bit more of the actual cause at hand.
All right, cool. I'm gonna walk over and kind of bump Dim on the shoulder a little bit. Let's go take a look at that gate.
Dem will nod and kind of like with like an arm, like almost like after you, I'll be right behind you.
All right, cool. And I'm just gonna like slowly make my way up to it, and I want to try to quietly see if I can get it to move. I do mean quietly.
What is your stealth bonus?
That would be a +5.
So you can take a moment to manipulate the door, and just with a little bit of kind of like tension on it, you can feel that it is locked. It kind of moves a little bit more backwards than it is forward towards you. But the gate seems to, when it's unlocked, kind of slide away from you. And it is hinged on the side to your left.
I'm gonna turn back to Dim. Don't suppose you're any good at picking locks, are you?
Um, Sadly, no. I can give it a shot.
Got thieves' tools?
And I was just looking at my inventory, see if I had any like improvised sort of thing I could use.
Does this thing go all the way to the floor to the ceiling?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I do not have anything that will work, and I don't have thieves' tools.
Uh, is the lock like a chain, like kind of like a padlock type thing, or is it built into this?
I would normally say built in, but why are you asking?
I mean, if it's a chain or something like that, I was gonna say just, bust the damn thing off if that's what everybody wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, my effective answer to you guys is if you don't have the specialized ability, what you have at hand is basically to break the weakest point. So you're either looking at a strength check against those hinges to try to dehinge it, a strength check against the actual locking mechanism, which again, part of why I ask why you're asking is I don't think it really matters when you're trying to break the lock or whether the like a lock that's on a chain versus the lock that's part of the gate. Either of those are effectively the same thing. You're trying to put that tension and pressure into the lock to break it. So, you guys have an athletics check ahead of you, strength athletics. Neither of you are especially good at it. The two of you can try to help each other to each roll it. One of you can roll it at advantage with the other one's help. It's kind of up to you guys how you go about doing it. Neither of you are especially strong.
I have a question. With something like disguise self, could I make myself appear essentially as try to make myself appear as like one of these humanoid like rat things? Like, or is it that beyond the scope of? Because it's only a first level spell, so
If I recall, I believe disguise self would be perfectly fine for that. I don't think it in particular kind of limits itself.
so it's like
Yeah.
okay, so it has to be so it's so it has to be like it would still be bipedal, so that's okay. I can only make myself. I don't know how tall the thing was that we saw, but I can only make myself. I think 1 foot shorter, so it might be a tall rat thing. But he's thinking like thinking like this thing looks maybe sturdy. Maybe if you guys try to essentially kind of like conceal yourselves, if assuming if it's locked on the other side, maybe there's somebody who can open it for us, and we can bring a trap on him if I can convince them to open it up for me. I mean, kind of going a shot in the dark, but
So I think kind of how I would interpret that is the biggest thing is you would be certainly looking to see kind of to avoid real inspection on it. Something that got close enough to you might certainly be able to see through it. You are almost guaranteed to be much taller than the other creatures. How tall is Dem? I think just under 6 feet.
uh, yeah, I thought I had.
Because like the rat that you all fought is probably like short human, probably what is it, like almost like dwarvish size. It doesn't really stand too much taller than say like chest height if it were not hunched over. So you'd be probably on the tall end of like a rat folk. But like that size isn't necessarily going to give you up. Um, might be wise enough to recognize that there's a certain stench that you would be lacking, but it's definitely environmental, so hopefully that kind of covers you there. But it's definitely something that's viable.
Yeah, so I thought I had put in his height, but I didn't. But I would say, yeah, around like 5'10", 5'11", a little bit under 6 feet is he's not a big guy, so
Yeah, and then the other thing is like most of them are pretty much kind of like showing signs of starvation. It's not like there's plump or rather that rat folk was not like a plump being. I'm not sure if you've got Dem as like a chubby guy or anything, but in the long run, like there's a certain understanding I feel like that's again close inspection of you. It's not necessarily going to work, but if you wanted to try, that is something you could certainly do. Versus you guys actually trying to just bust it open.
yeah, I'd say he's probably pretty lean. lean, lithe, pretty guy. Yeah, so he'll offer up his half baked plan to John and see if he wants to consider giving it a shot. Otherwise, we can try and patch it down.
Ah, fuck, anything's better than trying to beat down an iron gate. Let's give it a shot. And I'm gonna kind of move just over here on this wall, kind of try to give myself a little bit of cover from the gate, and have the monk come over here and do the same thing. That way, if something comes out of that gate, I'm gonna be waiting there with my bow like half cocked already, just waiting on something to come through.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have I would direct Briff to kind of back away. Presumably, these you would guess the rat things can probably see fairly well in the dark, but um, essentially wants to have Briff kind of like shield the torch, so it's maybe a little bit more difficult to make out details of him. And then he, once kind of people are in position, he's going to kind of like say a little, whisper a little kind of prayer, and then begin he'd like shrug off the backpack, kind of move it off to the side, and then um, go ahead and cast Disguise Self. Essentially trying to um, he's kind of visualizing the thing they had seen in the sewers. Obviously, he didn't have like a close inspection of it, but that's kind of the idea he has in mind of trying to make himself look like.
Gotcha. So you've got the light kind of shielded behind in that back corridor. The two others kind of just around little ledges there, kind of sheltered in the rock. And you are making an impression of kind of like the rat that you had seen, like a humanoid rat. Are you calling for attention? Are you all making a bunch of noise? Or are you just kind of holding here until something comes by?
I think he's going to move towards the grate, and he's going to maybe essentially try and almost like make a scratching sound against it, like as if he was not like banging on it with his fists, but almost trying to like try and make it almost sound like something like a rat its claws are scratching at the that might not no, yeah, it's not, that might not travel through the metal, so he'll just kind of like, yeah, kind of start like kind of banging on it, and then step back a bit, like kind of still within sight or view, but not right up at the grate.
Let me get a performance from you. You can have advantage.
So that would be a 19.
Are you wearing? I don't know if you remember from the description of that earpiece, the jewelry, but I was describing a Bluetooth headset. Are you wearing your jewelry?
I think yeah, that's something he would maybe not be wanting to leave behind, like in his little stash. So I'm gonna say yes, he is. He has it in.
Alrighty. So while you are kind of spending this time, about 15 or so minutes is going to go by where there is nothing really happening here. There's no response. Eventually, you are going to see something kind of. You guys aren't really going to see much. You're going to hear first. Eventually, you're going to hear as a creature approaches. Um, three of you are going to hear kind of like almost like lip smacks and kind of like almost grinding teeth kind of sounds as this creature kind of approaches, and it seems to be speaking to Dem as it moves forward. And as this creature gets a little bit closer to you, you can kind of hear that it's getting close to the gate. And then you can kind of hear as it kind of sets its hands to the steel. There's a little bit of like a sound of keys. But you are going to hear Dem as this creature kind of approaches. And it's simply going to kind of say something to the effect of, "Wanting, you always forgetting. Get in here." And it's going to unlock the door, kind of like opening that doorway a little bit. Just seems to kind of like slide it off to the side. You have an entryway ahead of you.
So Dem is going to start moving forward, trying to keep up the illusion, so not speaking back, almost kind of just like maybe like shaking his head in what he hopes is a rat-like fashion.
So, is this another one of the rat folk things? Like, can he see it clearly enough now?
You all don't have light in here. Right now, the light is being covered up and they are moving around in the dark.
Okay.
So when he goes to move through, you kind of move into the other side of it, Dem. You're going to basically hear as that gate closes back behind you, and it's going to start to relock the gate.
So Dalton, realizing that he perhaps did not think this plan all the way through, as it's kind of his want, is going to pretend to be trying to essentially look, this is no big deal, is going to maybe try to move away, trying to look like he knows where he's going, like he can like kind of see well and everything. Maybe hugging trying to hug what he hopes is the wall here. And his plan is to essentially, this point, essentially kind of wait, let it lock the thing, and then hope that maybe it moves away so that he can sneak back over and unlock it and let the others in.
Gotcha. So when you walk through, you're going to be kind of on the south side of that other creature. As it kind of like opens the gate, it's kind of holding it open to the north of you. You can kind of hear like a little bit of that like gate swinging. When you get to the other side of it, you'll hear as the gate kind of swings back and kind of clanks back to the latch and it goes to close it. Um, you're then basically looking to kind of um, like, are you just holding there? Are you just kind of like an arm to the wall of the south? You're going to try to move a little bit south of where you are? Are you going to kind of like move around to the north? That's kind of the extent of what you had seen with the light previously.
Yeah, so I think he wants to stick close, but not. He thinks it might be suspicious if he just stands kind of right on this side, or right in front of the gate on this side. So he's going to essentially try and kind of like start to like move away, like maybe a little down to the south, and maybe then further in, kind of like trying to surreptitiously kind of like guide his way, with his like hand against the wall. Um, Maybe, but doesn't want to get too far. So maybe like the hope is like maybe 5-10 feet this way, um, and then essentially kind of wait and he like just kind of like skulk maybe, um, or I guess listening to see if he kind of hears the creature moving away from the gate after it closes behind him.
To the north. You have no business here. Go back home. And it's going to point, but you can't see.
Uh, yeah. So Dem is when it says like go back home. Dem is going to. I think he's going to pretend that he thinks that means go back the way go back, back to the other side, and he is going to trying to make it look like it's, natural, not rather than skulking, is going to start moving back towards where he thinks the gate is.
Gotcha. Um, Alrighty. So you're moving back to the west, basically, back towards the gate.
Yeah, with the hope of at this point trying to like open it up. Kind of like once he gets close enough, then like kind of.
Let me have you make a dexterity check at disadvantage.
So that is actually a 21.
Pretty high. So you're just going to hear as there's like right over your head before this creature smacks into the gate with its hand. God damn it! The fuck are you doing? And again, like John, from your perspective, you hear these like horrendous sounds, but you can still kind of pick up like one cadence to them, as well as like sort of the actual like anger that's kind of building up on the other side.
How close is this thing to the gate at this point?
Technically, it's right next to the gate, but you can't see still. Like you're still blinded regardless.
So I have a question. If I wanted to spark a torch, turn the corner, and shoot him through the gate, is that something that could happen?
Lighting a torch within Action Economy is not like a simple thing. Most of the time, you're talking about rocking out a tinderbox to a torch that you have on the ground, trying to get a spark to it, allow that spark to create a flame, and then you have light. Inside of Action Economy, that's precisely why there's like hooded lanterns and things like that. So
Okay.
I
I,
would say
I
until
got
you
I,
have
I
access
got an
to
idea.
magical fire.
I got an idea. I am going to take one of my short swords out off my belt, and I'm just gonna like start tapping the wall real lightly to see if I can catch this thing's attention and maybe see if I can get it to come into this area.
Roll a performance at disadvantage.
Can I use my inspiration to just turn that into a straight roll?
You can have a straight roll.
Fuck. 3. God damn it.
So you'll continue to kind of hear the conversation between them. But one thing that everybody's going to hear is as a sword is drawn, you'll hear the actual like shink of metal as it's just. What have you brought with you? You vile trash. I need initiative from everyone.
It's going to be a 21 from me.
And actually the same.
Trying to think why you didn't actually just take a shot at it in the dark.
Because I'm not trying to hit my buddy that's on the other side of the gate too. That's a big whiff opportunity right there. trying to play this as I thought my character would. This is a smart guy that's used to dealing with animals and stuff. They hear a weird noise or something like that, they're more than likely going to come through the gate. Or they'd come into the area to be like, "What the fuck was that?"
What are your dexterity modifiers? Are both of you at like what is it, +3 dexterity? Are either of you at 17 dex?
No, mine is at 16. So is my wisdom.
I'm also 16 plus 3, so I think we're exactly even.
Gotcha. So in this case, normally I am open to giving you all the ability to act as a pair on the same initiative, but this is the first time you're meeting. So you guys have to decide who's going to act first of the two of you.
Do you want to each roll a d20? Highest goes first.
Works for me, buddy.
Now I rolled a nat 20.
All right, buddy, you're it, which would actually make the most sense, really. This thing just turned around and kind of screamed at you. If you didn't draw down on it and try to kill it, I'd be shocked. I think that would actually make very good sense.
Oops, that was not meant to be. I think 11 misses you.
Yes.
So you'll kind of like feel at least like kind of a wisp as this thing slashes past you and misses. What would Dalton like to do? As it seems quite clear, whatever you had going for you has fallen.
Yeah, so jig is up. Dalton's going to yell, Briff, John, get in here. And he is going to, as he kind of feels the kind of attack, like just kind of whistle past his ear, or like the breeze of a mist blow, he is going to try and hastily retreat back towards the, or no, actually, he's going to try and attack. He's going to draw out his rapier and just kind of rather blindly stab out at where he thinks this creature is.
Make your attack at disadvantage.
That will miss with a 7, I assume.
Indeed. And what would you like for Brifford to do?
Sorry, he's also kind of, as he's like stabbing out, he's also trying to move back towards the gate. He doesn't know if that'll bring him out of reach, but that's what he's moving for.
Yeah, let me have you roll just the die. Evens out of reach. Odd is still in.
It's even.
So as you kind of move for the gates, you eventually get your hand on steel. You never feel sharp steel. You feel at least a little bit of confidence there. And then I'm assuming you've got Brifford coming out to your aid.
Yeah, Briffer is rushing out. He's no longer concealing the torch. I think he can get to probably about there. He's got his blade out. I think he will dash to get the rest of the way to the gate, and hold there, because he's pretty much just rushing up, hoping to be able to help before things go too bad.
Gotcha. So then it will go to John. You can certainly get eyes on this creature. You've got a shot through the gate if you would like to take it.
Yep, I'm going to shift just slightly over here. And I'm going to use Sharpshooter, which gives me a -5, but I got a +5, so it should just be a straight 20 roll. And that's going to be a 2. Damn it.
So just pink right off of the metal. That arrow is just kind of going to scatter to the ground. Pretty close. Let's do the same mechanic here. Let me get a D4 from you. 4 is the only way that arrow is recoverable.
Hey.
And then after you got it. After that, it will go to a wolf. Oh, it was another 3. I got you.
Yeah. So I'm down to 18 arrows. Did he lock that gate back?
You guys don't know yet.
I'm gonna have Wolf run up and just like try to shoulder check the shit out of the gate to see if he can get it to
Let
open.
me get a strength check from you.
My strength or
Wait a
his?
second. My apology. My apology. Are you trying to kick it to see if it is unlocked, or are you trying to actually use your action to kick that door and really see if it's unlocked / knock it down if it isn't?
Yeah, I was gonna have that monk like shoulder check the shit out of that thing to see if he could get it to move.
Okay, that's what I was intending. That's you're going to knock it down if you can, but if it's unlocked, it's going to fly open.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
all or nothing.
So let me get a strength check. I am pretty sure he's not going to have a modified strength. I'm pretty sure that character is effectively a dex-based character.
Yeah, monks are like Dex and something else.
Does he have athletics? If he doesn't have athletics, he might have acrobatics. If he's got acrobatics, he is 100% a dex-based character.
Yeah, he's got athletics and acrobatics.
Gotcha. You could make an athletics check. What's the athletics bonus?
It doesn't say on that little thing you sent me. So I guess 0?
Oh fuck, son of a bitch. No. It should be a +6. The same as his plus to hit. Because that's proficiency plus his bonus. Like plus his ability.
Okay, so just give you a flat roll on that.
Well no, +6. So but a D20
9.
plus the 6.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's gonna be 16. You don't know that I think about this. He's right on the other side of that gate.
Indeed.
Motherfucker.
I don't know if it came through. Damn, I need a dexterity acrobatics from you.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay. No, I kind of assumed he's like he yelled get in here and then he's like, oh wait a second.
Yeah, you yelled get in here and the speedy ass monk went, okay, time to vibe check the gate.
You said acrobatics. So if it's acrobatics, that would make it a 10.
Gotcha. What did you actually roll there, Chase?
Rolled a 10 plus 6.
10 plus 6? Alright, it should just be the +2. It should be a 12. As far as I'm concerned, we'll still have the gate actually plowing open. Dalton can get out of the way enough to not get hit. But looking at the character, it tells you what your primary ability is. It's dexterity and wisdom. It just means acrobatics you have proficiency, so that means you have a +2. Or athletics you have proficiency. It means you have a +2 on your athletics. But because dexterity is your main, when you have proficiency on that, it means you've got that same as your +6.
Okay. So
That's just
athletics is
some of the
+2, dex check is a full +6.
Yeah, it's just some of the things you kind of learn as a DM's perspective of how creatures get written, that you can kind of like backwards track stuff. I think it's kind of silly for Matt not to have like delineated those things, but it's also kind of implicit in the creature.
All right, cool.
So a little bit of lights being shined around here. This person kind of seeing everybody at hand. Let's see. So slow. I should roll these in person. He's simply going to yell out, Dem, you will hear that this person is calling for aid. And then they are going to once again slash out at 1, 2, 3. 6 should be Wolf. So he's going to drop a dagger to the ground as he releases a crossbow bolt into Wolf. Another 15, another 12. 16 to hit Wolf. Should hit. And
Yep.
it's going to deal, what is that? 9 damage. So I need a con save from you. It's basically a straight d20. You need to roll higher than a 9.
I was about a 6.
Wolf is going to fall unconscious to the ground.
All right. Level 1 is a horror.
Well, better your sidekick than your. I mean, Devin's very squishy. Well, all level 1 is very squishy.
I was going to say, I think I have like 9 HP.
Everybody else who has run this, though, has twice as much hit points as them. I've now got 4 characters created inside of Ptolus. 3 of them at level 1 have over 10 have 10 hit points or higher, and 1 of them has 5.
Dude, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we
He
are
gets by
so
on his
fucked.
he gets by on his charm and his quick feet, but if you hit him when he's standing still, he's more than likely going down.
He's more than likely going to get his shit rocked.
So, dropping a knife at his feet, drawing his crossbow, he's shooting past you and into the person who's blasting open this door. And as they blast open the door, the bolt snaps as the monk is going to kind of fall prostrate against the door, pretty much kind of like barring it now open. What would you like to do, Dem?
So Dem is going to shout like it's calling for help, and kind of like moving out of the now that he can see and kind of having just narrowly avoided the gate slamming open is gonna move to give some room for his friends to get in, and now stabbing out again at this thing now that he can see it with his rapier, drawing his dagger as well in his other hand. Ooh, that's a crit.
So you already have inspiration, which means you can give that inspiration to Chase. Both of you then should have inspiration again.
Yep, I will do that. And then that'll be a total of 12 damage.
Gotcha. This is rapier.
That's the rapier, yeah. And then he is going to be following that up with an offhand dagger.
Gotcha. Let's get that dagger as well.
That will likely miss with a 10.
Gotcha. So as you like stab into this creature, as it's kind of yelling out, you just slide the rapier right into its mouth, and as it's kind of yelling for help, you almost silence it in the moment that you kill it. Creature kind of hanging from your actual sword, kind of slowly setting it down to the ground. You all have a few moments here. You can administer aid to Wolf. You have potential threats incoming, although you did a good job of potentially silencing the danger. What is the immediate thought for everybody coming off of this first moment? Are you looking to just be silent and nobody move? Or are you going straight for Wolf and trying to be silent on top of helping him? Like, where are you guys at?
John's going to shout out, take his keys, and you said the gate's got a lock on both sides, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to holler out at Dim, grab his keys and lock the gate back while I try to help Wolf, and I'm going to run my ass over there and try to get him back up, or at least stop the bleeding.
Gotcha. You can do a medicine check.
And Dem is kind of starting to move back, but as he hears John's instructions, he will move to try and like kind of quickly paw through the creature's, I don't know what it's wearing, but searching for any sort of key or some sort of
Gotcha. Roll a perception check for me.
That's a nat 20 plus 5.
Gotcha. That's for your medicine check, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's not really anything to doing the medicine check that like the crit kind of plays off. You can stabilize him. Wolf will survive this. He's still critically injured and he is still like unconscious, but he's at least stabilized and basically breathing on his own. And then Dem, you just rolled a 5 for your perception.
Yeah, and that's flat. So
Looking around, you do not see the keys on his person.
so he will kind of call back. Don't see any keys. And then like it's like how's Wolf, and he's gonna move back. And I think while he's kind of running back, Griff is kind of moving forward to take point, maybe a little bit.
Gotcha. You can collect a couple of coins, having gone through everything. You can grab a silver and 5 copper from it.
Can I give inspiration to the minion for that nat 20?
Negative.
Oh, that sucks.
Nope, it's gone.
Damn it. Okay.
That's part of what they're going for is to roll things forward. It's meant to also expend them. You guys aren't really expending your inspiration right now. But that's part of like the moment you used yours, Justin hit a crit and you almost got yours right away back. Part of the idea is not to collect inspiration. That's part of what they recognized was inspiration is broken. People don't use it. And the point is to use it.
Okay. I'm gonna turn back to Dim, and as he's looking at me while I'm working on Wolf, he's just gonna see me like pulling various plants out of my pockets and like stuffing it in the wound after I yanked the arrow out. I think he's gonna be okay
Is he breathing?
for now.
And I think I can give me some room. Give me a moment. And he's going to kind of almost like kind of like very gently kind of move to kind of push John off to the side a bit. He's going to kneel down and he will cast Cure Wounds on Wolf. Basically, just bring him back up, right?
Yep.
Kind of you're kind of seeing like them give like a little bit of almost like a tired shudder as he is like kind of touching, and you see kind of maybe like a little bit like energy coursing into Wolf, and then he'll kind of stand back up, kind of maybe helping Wolf to his feet.
Oh, I see. So you do have a little magic in you. And John's just gonna turn and walk kind of like right here in this corner, kind of catty corner to Bilford,
Briff, yeah, Brifford.
Brifford.
Rifford.
Got it. And I'm gonna keep an eye. Can I see that thing? Does that look like another gate in front of us?
Yeah, where Brifford has kind of moved up to the gate was probably the first time that you all would have seen that there is kind of a gate off to the like right of where uh John is, and like to the like left hand corner there's another gate in that direction. But like to your right, there seems to be a tunnel that continues on without a gate. So you guys are in kind of a position where 3 of the 4 directions there are gates.
Okay. I'm gonna keep an eye on the right hand tunnel and just try to listen to see if I can hear anything coming.
Yeah, like if you're back to that corner, there's nothing that prevents you from keeping an eye on both of those tunnels.
Yeah. Just do that and see, like I said, if I could hear anything coming or, anything like that.
How long do you guys want to kind of sit here in silence?
So Dem is kind of before he was just kind of searching for the key. Now he's gonna. I think he's gonna take a few moments after now that he's gotten Wolf back up to again just saw off the tail of this larger thing that he saw, and he wants to check to see if the crossbow that it was wielding is still serviceable or if maybe it like broke beneath it. Um,
Roll a percentile. 60 and over, it's serviceable. 20 and over, you can repair it to get it serviceable.
nope, that is broken.
Yeah, so in the way it collapsed, the crossbow like completely snapped under the creature. For what it is worth, it is a completely useless item.
Yeah.
You can grab up its dagger, though. It fell on top of its dagger.
Yeah, he will grab that. All right, and then yeah, he'll like kind of look towards as he after he's doing that, kind of getting back up, looking towards John. Hear anything? Any more of those things coming?
So part of what I'm looking for here is a question of how long are you guys going to spend listening?
I'd say give it about 5 minutes.
Gotcha. Let me get a perception from. You can do both of you, or you can go advantage to one of you.
I think Dem will just be trying to like make like have everyone like kind of like as quiet as they possibly can to give like allow John to concentrate a little more. Essentially, try to help him in that sense.
So let's go for the advantage from John. On a perception check, please.
So the highest would be a 15 total.
Gotcha. So, few moments go by, nothing comes. There's no response. As you spend a few more minutes just kind of listening through, there doesn't appear to be any sort of an alarm that has been set off. It would appear after a few minutes that indeed this creature was kind of stopped mid-process. Um, Let me get a investigation from John. You can't quite tell where, but you hear in kind of the silence of this place, belabored like gasping. Um, you kind of like take a few moments to like look towards Wolf and see if it's still like Wolf struggling, and it's not. This sounds a little bit like a creature that has like a lung wound, almost as if a collapsed lung.
Do I get a general sense of like which direction it's coming from?
Not with a 4.
All right, fuck it. I vote east. I think I hear something. Let's follow this tunnel a little farther. Watch the damn gates and make sure nothing comes through there. And after that, he's just going to kind of start moseying this way, real slow, quietly, trying to be stealthy.
Dem will nod and he will. He's going to try and follow a little bit behind, also trying to be quiet.
Gotcha.
Sorry, he'll leave Briff to kind of keep an eye on the gates in the meantime.
Is Briff still the one with the light?
Oh yeah, so he'll have to follow to give John light to see. So yeah.
Gotcha. But we're kind of going John, Wolf, Dem, and then Briff.
Yeah, I want
Uh,
the most bare ass amount of light in front of me possible. Like, just enough to where I can see about 5 foot in front of me, and we're not going to turn a corner and flash something and alert the whole room.
Gotcha. That more or less is going to keep yourself pretty blinded from like you're not necessarily seeing anything ahead of you. Um, Going for stealth, I think you said John has a +5 on stealth.
Yep.
Is Briff or is Dalton +5 on stealth?
Yeah, same.
I'm a
Uh,
stealthy boy.
so while you all are moving forward, everybody trying to keep quiet, there's definitely a certain amount of kind of like crackling almost beneath your feet. Despite all of your efforts to kind of tread softly and not necessarily make any noises, you don't necessarily find yourselves satisfying your desire to be quiet. With each step, it's just kind of as you put all of your weight down, and then like toes down as you get all of your weight down. And each step is just like this horrendous. It's like nails on a chalkboard to your sense of being quiet. And each one kind of fails. And it's just kind of a horrendous thought as you move eastward here, you start to notice there's no moving in this direction that is keeping you quiet. And eventually you kind of get to the point where Brifford kind of following behind everybody else, with most of the light kind of shut off and kind of blocked off. Brifford kind of looking to his feet, walking on a pile of bones.
Well, then I guess it's starting to get exciting.
So you've got the gate to the south of you, not really scattering any light through it. You've got a little bit ahead of you all where you can continue to move to the east. What kind of thoughts do you all have as you kind of, do you just move past this gate? Are you continuing on to the east?
I'm gonna kind of turn my head and signal to Dim, like, "Hey, go like push on that gate real quick. See if you can get it to open." And I'm gonna keep facing east, watching the corridor.
Yeah, so Dem will nod. He'll move towards the gate, and he'll look to see if he sees any sort of like latching or locking mechanism, trying to determine whether it is locked or not, and um, if it's locked, whether he can open it.
Roll another perception for me. From what you can tell, the gate seems similar enough. While you're kind of manipulating the gate, Dem, you're going to hear, "Don't leave me here. Please."
And can he hear this? Is this in common? Can he tell what language he's understanding when he has the earpiece in?
I don't see any reason why you would.
So he's gonna actually move to kind of like take it out, and then he's gonna call out like, "Hello, who's there?"
Please don't leave me. I'm not one of them. They've taken me.
So Dem is going to kind of move over, kind of like tap John on the shoulder. There's someone in there, not a rat thing. Seems like,
Everybody else would have heard the voice as well.
oh yeah, but Dem's kind of stupid, so he'll do that anyway. And then he will. Yeah, sorry. Was he? Is he? Does he think he's able to get the gate open?
Otherwise, it was locked.
John, hearing that, he's gonna walk over to the gate and kind of gesture to Briff to bring the light over where we can see what's going on, and shine the light through the gate. Just open it up full tilt.
Yeah, so when you guys actually like unshutter the actual lantern and kind of look inside, you just see a person who's kind of like up against the wall, They seem to be kind of bound up and otherwise kind of like held in this place. Pretty obviously like well injured and like covered in refuse. This is not somebody who would choose to be in a place like this, but otherwise seem to be a human.
Okay. John's gonna check the gate out and just kind of try to push it and see if it's locked. Oh wait,
It
you
is
already said
indeed locked.
you already said it was locked. I'm sorry. Can I go back to the other gate and take a look for those keys again?
You could certainly take another look for the keys. Roll a perception at disadvantage.
Well, shit. Well, that is. Do I add my modifier to it still?
Perception wise, yes. Oh, what is that? +5 for you? Or is that the +2?
No, that's +5, so it'd be 11. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I don't have fucking just open mic on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you looking around that area, it would appear like that the keys have just kind of been scattered and lost.
Well, shit. All right, I'm gonna look to Wolf and gesture to him and Griff, be like, "All right, boys, let's get her open the old-fashioned way."
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to break it down.
Yeah, so I'd like to get me and Wolf on it and just try to push it open or knock it down if we can.
Kind of the same thing. You guys can just do like advantage to John, or you can go each of you rolling a d20. Like Wolf being able to bust open the gate is something like Wolf can do in action economy, like inside of combat. But these guys are otherwise just like background characters when you guys aren't in combat.
All right, cool. Yeah, just do me, I guess, straight strength roll or what?
I think Dalton would try to be helping him, so he'd be essentially trying to add his weight to it.
Gotcha. So yeah, let me get a just d20 from each of you. Um, Dalton, yours is technically a -1.
That's gonna be a 17 for me.
4 for Dalton.
You guys will be able to pull this one open. A lot less force to it, like than actually just trying to gun ho through it. It doesn't make like any loud noises as it slams against the walls. You guys can put a little bit more effort into like pushing through, but not necessarily slamming it open.
Cool. Sounds good. And I am going to approach this person. I'm being weary. I'm still kind of keeping my distance a little bit. As I get closer, can I see any like obvious marks? Like, I assume I'd be familiar with like what a plague rat and stuff like that looks like.
Why would you be familiar with it?
I mean, I'm in and out of the. I assume I would be somewhat familiar with the plague being in and out of the town all the time.
Are you in and out of the sewers all the time? Roll a medicine check here.
Man, she looks like the healthiest human I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she certainly seems injured and kind of emaciated from lack of food. You can see signs where much of her clothing seems to be pretty much ragged at this point. Perhaps a little bit of evidence that she's not necessarily just like destitute and poor. Some of her clothes bear signs of having once been nice. Um, this person though doesn't explicitly like scream plague to you, but they definitely seem injured. Does not seem like a rat person though.
Okay, I'm going to turn to Dim and look at him and go, "We should probably mark this entrance and get her out of here. She doesn't look like she's in good shape."
Dim will nod. He'll move over towards towards this prisoner. You said does she seem to be bound?
She is indeed bound to the wall.
Um, is that with like metal iron manacles or more like rope, or does it look like a way that he could possibly um,
Let's go for
break?
chain and manacles on this one. Does anybody have a pry bar? Yeah, if you don't have a pry bar, you could do something with like a short sword to slash at these things. Something that does bludgeoning might be maybe more effective. An axe might be among the most effective. But basically, you're looking at trying to break through chain to free her.
Yeah, if I recall, Briff had he had a couple hand axes. So he might hand one to like Dalton's gonna look at his like he's got a rapier and a dagger. Those aren't gonna be much help, but he might like ask for, Briffle, Briff come here and hand him the hand axe if he can, and then he would try to like hold still to the woman and then try and break through the chains.
While he and Briff are working on that, I'm gonna step back out with Wolf and just kind of do the same thing. Stay at the entrance, keep an eye on both the other gate and this hallway, making sure nothing sneaks up on us.
Gotcha. So you said you're trying to slash at the actual chains to break them free?
Yes, with Dalton. Dalton using Briff's axe. Hand axe, I should say.
Gotcha. So make an attack roll. That would be, ooh, I think the hand axe is going to be strength based.
Okay, and that's a simple weapon, so he should be proficient with
Yeah, sounds about right.
it. So that should be a 16 because you have a -1 strength but a +2 proficiency. So I think it's just +1.
It's it's really funny because I think a hand axe can be thrown, which means you would have better chances if you threw the axe at her than if
Uh,
you actually maintained.
Now stay perfectly still.
Eat it, eat it, eat it.
You're not in any danger at all.
This
Dude,
is why you
all
don't.
the time.
This is why you don't listen to any of my ideas. I'm a fucking terrible influence.
Yeah, so that's enough though that you can definitely hit into it, and takes a few hits to actually get solid cut through. Um, as you guys kind of hold the outside, just kind of keeping an eye for any other signs. Doesn't appear that anything immediately kind of seems to recognize these things, but you guys can free her, and she can't stand on her own. She is going to need assistance to be able to maintain her feet.
Yes.
Man,
Um, Dalton's gonna try and like help her up. He's gonna be like, seeing you said she seemed pretty emaciated, so he's going to kind of rummage in his pack and kind of hand her some of his like some rations. Basically like some hardtack or jerky or whatever it is.
Gotcha. Are you moving around with your backpack right now? Are you technically encumbered?
He had dropped. I know he had dropped it before he went through the gate the first time. I think like when he went back up to help Wolf, he would have then picked it back up.
Gotcha.
Um, so he is encumbered now. Yes.
Gotcha. So you can give her a ration. She will start kind of eating on it, like holding it in one hand. Did you say Dalton is going, or Briff is going to hold her up?
So Dalton helps her to her feet. He gives her some water to like with the food, like out of his water skin. Um, he'll like kind of ask her name and then like say I think he'll offer to kind of help support her unless like, I don't know if you want like Briff to be doing it. Like it would probably make more sense for Briff to do it, but like once he's helped her to her feet a bit, and like kind of have her lean on him, and then
Gotcha. So she'll respond to you. My name's Kalishin. Thank you very much for the food. Please, let's leave this place now. It's a horrendous place.
I assume John can hear them talking and everything.
Yep.
Miss, are there any other like you in this place?
I've seen no one else, but there are horrendous things to hear in the darkness.
Dim, I think we need to get her out of here, and we need to come back and figure out what in the hells is going on.
Dalton's gonna nod and in agreement, and he kind of looks off in the direction of like kind of meaningfully, almost like towards with John, like in the direction of like where the bones like didn't doesn't want to take time to inspect them now, but he's starting to fear they might not be animal bones, and but he's otherwise going to agree, like, yeah, we should let's get out of here, get her back to safety. Priority number one.
And away we go.
Alrighty. So yeah, if you all assist her out of here, let me have each of you roll a d12.
Well, that's gonna be a big old fat one.
And I rolled an 11.
With our powers combined, we make a 12.
When you guys get back towards the area where you crawled in, you are going to kind of moving up. That's vaguely how you guys are like moving out of this place.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
So when you guys get up to this point, you're going to see as some of the rat folk are actually coming back in, and there's just a moment where like the light kind of hits them walking in, you all are walking out, and you all just kind of stare at each other. Let's go for a fresh round of initiative here.
All right. And has it been I think it's probably been an hour, I would say, right?
What's that? I think we had you wait. I think it was 15 minutes till the first creature came. 5 minutes past listening, so you're at least 20 something minutes in. Let me have you roll a d100, and I'd say 60 or above, you still look like a rat folk.
Okay. So first thing, 17 for the initiative,
12 for me.
and an 8 for the D100.
Rushing. Yeah, so as far as things go, I think you would have already felt that spell dissipate.
Yeah, yeah. And he could have asked somebody else, like, do I still look, and yeah.
Well, and just, kind of odd side note here. If you walked up to that lady looking like a rat folk, she probably would have freaked the fuck out.
You're right. I didn't even think of that.
Touche.
Yeah, she'd have been like, ah,
And I don't think that's a spell I can just like dismiss, is it?
You can dismiss all of your spells.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to
Oh,
say. As far as I
and
know,
actually-
mechanics wise.
And actually, I think I could have while it's
I lost you on
Oh.
the wallets.
Oh, sorry, no, I was rereading. I thought maybe it was something that I could like kind of change within the hour, but it's not. But I think Dem's not the smartest guy, but maybe like when he started and he saw her face, he would have realized like, oh crap, I still look like a rat thing, and then that's when he would have dismissed it. I think, yeah. But yeah, definitely good call. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
Sheath.
sorry, not trying to harsh your vibe, but I'm like, hey man, way to trigger the PTSD victim. Way to set off the poor torture victim.
And he's coming at her with an axe in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, she probably just like pissed her pants and passed out for a minute. I'm looking forward to this. Maybe this will be the day that I finally kill a character.
Kill a character, like
Get my
have your
character
character
killed.
die.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a number of years since I've had a character die.
Well, next time I won't give you a sidekick. I assure you, I'm still not throwing a terribly challenging fight at you guys, but there's definitely challenging fights to be had. So when you guys rush into this, you're going to see is like the three rat folk are actually coming forward. Behind them, there's a couple of smaller rats that seem to kind of be like crawling around, maybe on top of their actual bodies. But you guys have basically. Oh wait, I can actually shrink them down because we're not in roll 20. I'm so excited. A couple of smaller creatures in the background, but the larger humanoids are the ones that all are like that little red guy. It's going to start off here with Dalton. What would you like to do?
All right, so Dalton's like looking towards Briff. He's like protect her. He's gonna move up a little bit, and he is going to kind of looking towards the one in the center, kind of the closest bigger rat thing. He's going to you'll see him just kind of like take a breath and then unleash like a string of insults at it. He's going to cast Vicious Mockery against the rat thing, which is a Wisdom save, DC 13.
I'm not sure if you know this, but rats are among the wisest of idiots.
Bringing that whole Master Splinter thing back into the fore.
Man, why is it so slow? I gotta stop rolling on this. And it's only me. You guys aren't rolling slow. Or do yours take a long time and I just don't notice it because I'm not staring at it?
They take about the
Mine's
same amount of time as an average dice. Like if I was actually going to roll it on the table.
Yeah, mine seems to be going all right.
Mine feel like they're moving in slow motion. I have to wonder if I did something. So I'll have to look into that at a later time. I got a 14. I believe Vicious Mockery is save or suck, so nothing happens.
Yep. So it passes.
Yeah.
But with his bonus action, he is going to. Oh wait, hold on 1 sec. Oh yeah, I don't think I need to bring out the instrument for that. So yeah, with his he's gonna shout some stirring words to kind of as he's finishing the insult, shouting some like stirring words towards John, and he is going to give him bardic inspiration. That would be a D6 for you, John.
A bard and a ranger meet in a bar and decide to go kill rats. This sounds like the beginning of the best love song in the world.
But otherwise, actually, Dalton is going to kind of move back. He's thinking actually Briff is better suited to take these guys on face to face than he is. So he'll kind of like move back.
That works perfectly fine. So you kind of continue to hold up. I wrote her name down so I know it. Kalijin, and she and Dalton is gonna hold her. Briff's gonna move forward. What is Briff going to do?
Yeah, so I don't think he can reach them with 30 feet.
I don't see any reason why he can't make that. Like
Okay.
the fact that it goes straight through John, like again, the geometry of this place is still non-Euclidean, so you can move around John. But yeah, I think you got that.
Gotcha. Okay. And in that case, he is. He would have had, I think, both of his weapons out, given we're trying to escape here.
You're holding her up. I'll give you one. I don't
Oh.
think it changes anything as far as actually like drawing the other one, so you can make both attacks. But I would say, for realism's sake, you're still holding her up with your other arm previously.
Yep, sorry, that's my bad. I completely forgot that. But yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. So yeah, he kind of like swings at the first as he's trying the second to follow up.
Was that first the 14? Oh, that's my 14.
So the first is a 19, so it'll be 25.
Solid hit.
Second would be an
His
18.
damage is, yeah, both of those will hit. Into the same creature, I can pretty much guarantee that's a kill. You don't necessarily have to roll damage.
Yeah, that should, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that is him. That is his turn.
So that will go to John. You have inspiration. You both have normal inspiration. You have the bardic inspiration. In the next 10 minutes, you can add that d6 to an attack. Normal inspiration is before you do anything, and then the bardic inspiration is afterwards.
Cool.
Yes.
So I will do a sharpshooter shot on the one that's right smack dab in the middle that
Gotcha.
old boy yelled at. And I'm going to use my inspiration on this. So
Gotcha. So take
basically I
advantage.
get advantage.
Yeah, effectively for rogues, it's not a way to give yourself like sneak attack. But it's everything but.
Okay. So that's a
Is that a
3.
1 and a 3?
Yeah, that's a 3. I'm gonna burn the bardic inspiration and add a d6 to it as well, and that's an 8 total. I highly doubt that's gonna hit.
Yep. An 8 on this shot is just gonna kind of fly by.
This is why John needed to come hunt rats, because he's a really shit hunter.
So do the same thing on that arrow. Let me get a D4. You've got a 4 to have that arrow be recoverable.
Nah, that's another one.
Got another one gone. And then what would Wolf like to do? I assume run forward and punch them in the face.
Yeah, he's gonna run forward to this one in the middle that I just like took the tiniest piece of hair off of his ear and just beat the shit out of him. And that's gonna be he gets a +6 to hit though, so that's a 14.
14 will hit. And you've got a D8 plus 2?
2d4 plus 4.
2D4 plus 4.
So that is a 7 total.
And it will drop them unconscious.
If I could ever hit a shot.
It's
great.
one of those things, adding in the sharpshooter only is going to make it more interesting.
I know.
So then, let's see, we've got 2 more of the little guys and 1 of the big guys. We're going to go for...
Your father smelled of elderberries and your mother was a gerbil.
The little guys are going for 3, which is John. Yeah, they're just gonna run past the other one. So, as far as things go, Rat is going to run between Briff and Wolf. Would either of you like to attack it?
Yeah, as Briff is like grabbing the hand axes out of the kind of the corpse of the big one, he sees this other thing running and just tries to like essentially swing it down and stab it where it as it's running past him. 24.
Gotcha. Solid hit, and that will kill. Another one is running past. Just Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf will, as he sees it run past, try to reach out and just like stomp on it.
You can do so at disadvantage.
How's about a natural 1?
Yeah, you're going to miss it as it goes by you. And it's going to go for John. Try to bite into you. And then the other one is going to run past all of you. John, would you like to make a attack of opportunity as it runs past you? Unarmed strike at it if you would like to.
Is that the little one or the big one?
That's the big guy.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Just a straight unarmed strike.
Yep.
13 to hit.
13 will miss.
Damn. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. It'd have done 1 damage anyways. Oh, it's got a +2 to hit, so that's actually a 15.
15 will hit, dealing 1 damage. And it's going to stab into Dem. It's going to deal 4 damage to you, Dem.
Dem is just barely still standing. He is eternally mortally wounded condition.
I'm
Step away from
severely
death.
bloodied.
Very badly hurt.
Someone tickled me. I feel faint.
And then we're going to go back to top of the initiative on Dem.
Yeah, so Dem, kind of reeling, is going to kind of try to steady himself on his feet, pulling out his rapier and stabbing at this thing that just stabbed him. I think that'll miss with a 13.
I will indeed.
Yeah, but he is kind of essentially trying to keep himself between this thing and Kelvin. So he is standing pat. Riff is meanwhile rushing back this way. I think what he's going to do is, as he's running by this little thing, he's going to try and essentially kind of like throw out his axe to stab it. And regardless of whether he hits or misses, continue on and take his second attack with his offhand at this larger rat thing.
Gotcha. So go for the initial one. And
Miss.
Big ol' miss.
then the offhand attack on the other.
Yep. I wasn't sure if this thing got an opportunity attack, so I wanted to wait to see.
I bit out at you, but it did not hit.
Okay, because it had potentially could have dropped him, so that's why I was holding up.
Oh, wait. Why did it stop rolling when I hid the box and it stopped rolling? This is me opening the box that now says a 12, but I think we agree 12 is still a miss.
Yeah, 12 will miss, and I believe a 12 for his offhand attack will also miss the rat thing.
It will indeed, yep. So then it's going to go to John. You've got the rat still kind of like clawing at you. What would you like to do?
I am going to turn slightly and shoot the one that just shanked Dim.
Gotcha. You can do so at disadvantage.
That would be 10 total.
It was another. That was sharpshooter.
No, just a regular shot.
Okay. Yeah, 10's going to be a miss, just kind of plinking off of the steel.
That's another arrow down.
Do a D4. No, you can have that one.
All right. And then I'm going to have Wolf run up and beat the hell out of that one again. And that will be a 22 to hit. And it
Solid
will
hit. Pretty sure it's an auto kill for him.
9.
2d4 plus 2. Yep, that'll kill it.
Nah, it's 2d4 plus 4. Yeah, so 9
Plus 4,
total.
yeah. Yeah, so it's just the last rat on top of John.
So, hey, question. Why was it at disadvantage on the other rat?
When you decided not to attack when he attacked, the fact that two rats were running past you, I'm assuming that it was a metagame and you're taking a negative for that one. Because he is ignoring a creature that is a threat, and basically then going for another one. I'm just going to roll that as that rat is basically harder to hit. Because he's like seeing a flow of rats. This one's going to go for a 3. I think that is still John. It is going to bite into you with a big old 9 is a miss. And you guys
Yep.
should be able to kill a rat here. So you've got 5 more tails ahead of you. You guys have the potential for any danger. What kind of thoughts do you all have as you clean up these bodies here?
Yeah, Dem would like to quickly search the aside from the tails, just search the couple of the larger bodies.
My point in general, Chase, is if you get an opportunity attack, normally you're taking the opportunity attack at the first time you get it.
I hold on. No, Bubba, I'm not getting what you're saying. I took an opportunity attack.
But my point is normally it's going to be the first target that you ever get a chance at.
Yeah.
Holding off for the second one, he's already ignoring other creatures to do it. But it was purely just my discretion to say this one's going to be a disadvantage.
No, yeah, see, Bubba, that's what I'm not getting here. The big rat that ran by me was the only one that I had an opportunity attack at. You
With
told me to do an
John.
unarmed. Yeah,
Yeah, John made it unarmed because he's got a bow in hand.
right.
He wasn't disadvantaged, though.
No,
It
I'm
was
talking
Wolf
about
who I
whenever
put
I
the
made my
disadvantage
no,
on.
no, no, no. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about when I made the shot at the rat that hit Dim.
Oh, because you had a rat on top of you. You were in melee combat.
I thought that only counted if it was the one that was like actually attacking you.
Nope. You're
Oh, okay.
you're in melee regardless of whether your target is or not.
Okay, cool. Yeah, dude, I was just curious.
Yeah. No, that's why I wanted to talk about it, was to make sure that you knew like exactly why. Most of the time I'm probably going to disadvantage somebody who is stopping to ignore like an initial target to try to like attack something else, in the same way that, yeah, like figuring out like what I mean by like a particular rule. I think it's important to actually discuss the things to recognize what's going on. But yeah, 100%. Basically, you were steadying yourself while a rat is like chewing on you to take an attack at like an actual threat, versus this thing's a tiny little creature, but it's also still chewing on you.
Yeah, see, and that was my whole thing was I was like, wait, I get I get what you mean now. But I wasn't metagaming. I was actually playing it how the character would have, because he literally just saw this other bigger rat take a huge chunk out of Dim, so he was going to turn and try to help him, even though he had the little tiny one on his boot. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll give you that, but he never would have actually gotten an attack on the bigger rat anyways. The other one could have avoided him.
Right. Like I
Whereas
said,
like the
I'm not
little
arguing.
guys were the ones he had the chance at. So cleaning up the rats here, you guys can get 5 more tails, 3 more large, 2 more small.
That should be 5 and 4. 5 large, 4 small.
Yep, that's what I got too.
Damn, I rolled for how she reacted, but I kind of skipped through it.
Screamed, cried, and ran the other direction.
I feel like she was probably the loudest thing about that encounter as far as screams go. The rat folk were not necessarily like yelling for anything in particular. So you guys can kind of decide like your initial course of action here. Taking the tails might get a little bit of kind of like a kind of blowback almost from Kaijin as she's kind of like disgusted. Um, it seems a little bit kind of curious why you're wasting time on them. But I think it's pretty easy for you to at least explain that you're grabbing up basically gold.
A man's got to make money to eat. The loudest part of that whole encounter was John's arrow skidding off the wall.
It's distasteful, I know, but as my friend here said, man has to eat. Hopefully, that's the end of it, and we can get you out of here.
Return me to my family, and you will be well fed. Please let us leave this place.
You heard the lady?
Won't hear any arguments from me.
Gotcha. So progressing back towards the basically exiting of this area and the sewers.
Yep. Briff once again kind of is now helping Elgin, and Dem is more closer back up towards. Even though he probably looks like he could use some support too, but he's back up closer with John and Wolf.
Excellent. So let me have the two of you roll a d10.
Hey, guess what I got?
I don't know if you figured it out, but when I ask you to roll a random die, it's usually to see if you get a 1 because there's another encounter.
Yep. Dude, I don't know what it is with me tonight. It's either I'm rolling 20s or I'm rolling low. There really hasn't been an in-between.
Oh, and I got a 5. If that, I don't know if that.
This is the only reason John ever makes any money is because he's constantly getting mobbed by anything in the general vicinity.
I'm not speaking to you. Control is not even one of my push to talks. So I kind of got you guys set up kind of here. If you're kind of like stepping out of that area, and we kind of have John guard one side, Wolf guard the other, and then the two carrying Kaijin kind of stepping out like around her. Basically, all of you have to crawl out, but then like helping her up kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Oh, Justin had to go AFK for a second. I've got to go to the bathroom, so let's take a quick break. Come back like 6:40, or if you need longer, take it. But soon.
Cool.
Are both of you back right now?
Yeah, I'm still here. But I don't think Justin's back yet.
Oh, good. Yeah, he said like 2 minutes, so it's not a big deal. We're getting close to the end regardless here. Was that Justin sitting back down there? All good. We took a quick break like in the same kind of time because I had to go to the restroom as well.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. I'm back. Yep.
So I've kind of got you guys like lined up here. If you're kind of crawling through this tunnel here to make your way out, we've got John kind of like set up kind of just outside on the north, Wolf just outside on the south, and then like the two of Justin's characters kind of helping Kaijin out. Does that look good to you guys?
Yeah, that seems good to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Gotcha. So as you all are kind of coming out of this place, let's go for... Odd from the north. As like the light of Briff's lantern kind of like comes out, and as they kind of stand up, you kind of see like a mass of rats up to the north of you. And none of them look especially like large, like the actual rat folk. These things, you can kind of see that there's actual, like smaller rats in what makes up a bigger group of rats. But let's go for another roll of initiative here, as you kind of see these other groups.
That'll be a 17.
And 15 for Dem.
I can't even like use. Oh, there we go. Use the duplication to my advantage. Ah, I'm learning. So said 17 from John and 15 on Dem.
Yep.
Yep.
Alrighty, John, you're gonna have the first opportunity to react to these things. You see these rats up to the north of you. What would you like to do?
I am going to whip my bow out and try to shoot one of the orange ones, the bigger targets.
Gotcha, big guys. Go for it.
That is going to be a 23.
Solid hit. Roll for damage.
And that's going to be 9 total damage.
Gotcha. And any movement from you, otherwise it will go to Wolf.
No. Can Wolf get to the animals, or is he too far back?
I have a feeling on this one he's going to be too far back.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to have him, like, get up here beside me. You said this is pretty shallow water, right?
Yeah, like without a problem, Wolf could run through the center. Getting back up is difficult though. Like inside combat. Outside of combat, somebody can help you up with little to no difficulty.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have him hop down and get here in the center and kind of stand by me and ready in action for whenever they get close.
Gotcha. Just attacking the first thing that comes to you.
Yep. Just going to reach out and smack whatever gets close first.
Roll that attack. One of the targets is going to get right up to you two. Let's see who it's actually.
That'll be a 13 to hit.
You said 13 to hit will hit. Roll for damage.
All right. That is going to be 8 damage total.
So as they kind of like get up closer to you all, they are going to kind of like swarm around you, and you can kind of see like some of the actual rats that you've already shot your arrow to, like the rats that Wolf is punching into. They're just dying in this mass, and the mass is just kind of continuing forward, just kind of as like almost a gelatinous blob of rat. But they're just gonna kind of move and eventually start to swarm around Brifford. They are going to. Oh, bite damage doesn't actually matter against Briff. Please stop rolling. 5 is a big ol' miss.
You're having a love-hate relationship with that die roller right now, aren't you?
It's rolling at half speed, and it's just horrendous to feel like, okay, it's on a number enough that it'll stop. And it does feel like it's new. I don't know why it's happening. I wonder if I close the other window.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's because you have 2 of them open.
Is that really it? That seemed much faster. That's never been a problem before, and that is straight up what they say that you should do with their program because it allows you to modify stuff as a DM. That is incredible. That looked like it fixed it. So, 7 is going to be, was that 2? So that's going for Wolf. Oh, this is going to duplicate it. Son of a bitch. So this one's going to move up to Wolf and attack him. I forgot there's swarms. They get to go on top of you. It's going to move up to Briff, or to Wolf, bite into him. I need a con save, just a straight d20 from Wolf, and you need a 7 or higher. So, as they. Oh, wait. Oh, I got psyched out by Dems.
It's a
Sorry, I thought you said Briff. Sorry.
No, I did, but I messed up. So yeah, the wolf save is going to fail. Once again, Wolf is going to fall to the ground. These rats are kind of swarming around him. And this one's going to go now to Dem.
Wolf needs
Right,
to
so-
get his shit together.
You got another spell, Dem?
Nope. I am fresh out. But he is looking at these rats swarming over Briff, and he is going to just start kind of weaving some very odd insults aimed at this swarm of rats. But he's essentially going to cast Vicious Mockery. So again, save DC 13.
I love Vicious Mockery has anything to do with a swarm of rats.
It's weird. As long as it just has to hear it, it doesn't have to understand or have any concept of what an insult is.
Well, I think even animals can tell whenever you're acting aggressively towards them. You know, if you yell and
Did
scream at
he
an
just
animal,
say a yo mama joke?
I'm gonna bite this motherfucker in the nuts.
Sadly, it just went from 1 to a 19. It seems ineffective.
Yep, but he is otherwise. He's going to, unless he can. I mean, essentially more for flavor purposes, try and kind of like step in front of, kind of push Belgian behind him. But otherwise, he's not moving.
Wait, what are you thinking?
It's like I said, it's more just for flavor, essentially, like trying to be the protector, like kind of like stepping in front of her, like kind of gallant, but obviously no like mechanical difference. So,
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
but
fucking alt button. Um, yeah, because I don't necessarily do anything with her. It's fine if you kind of castle.
Yeah. So so that's it for him. As he kind of these insults are falling on deaf ears, it seems. Briff is just laying into the rats, kind of swarming all over him with his axes. Actually, no, he had the lantern in one hand, so he's still got that in one hand. So he's only got one axe out now. That should
Drop
hit.
the lantern and draw another weapon, or are you going for one attack?
Yeah, I would assume if he's dropping the lantern and drawing the other hand axe, that's kind of like takes up like his free action, like he can't attack with both this turn.
Dropping doesn't cost you anything.
Okay, in that sense, yeah, that's what he would do. These things are swarming all over him, so yeah, he'll just drop the lantern and so second one. So 25 and then 16.
Both of those will hit. The lantern is going to fall into the water. Doesn't float away, but effectively the lantern's no longer going to create light today.
Yeah, afraid of that. Okay, so the first one deals 5. Second one
And
deals
second?
8. Second one will deal 8.
Okay, that was 8 on the D8. Gotcha.
Yeah, that
Second
was an
one
actual 8.
will. What was that?
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah, the second one was just an actual 8.
Gotcha. Yeah. So as Briff's kind of going off on these things, making his attacks, he will be able to kill off kind of like the last of this swarm, as like their like tails and corpses and bodies just kind of like fall together. There might be a rat or two that is still living inside of said swarm. I'm not sure if you guys know much about rat kings, but rat kings are one of the coolest and most horrific thing that has ever happened in real life. Any rats that are still alive are basically being drugged to their death by the fact that all the rats are realistically dead here. Anybody who's alive has to like chew off their tail and or eat like 15 rats to get free. But those rats are dead. And then you have, let's see, all the little guys. There's one rat for each of you.
Oh, quick question, actually. When he dropped the lantern, was there any actual light in here aside from, like, is there light enough for him to see, or were those attacks have been made at disadvantage? Was he essentially flailing in the dark now?
We'll say the light goes out after his attacks. You guys are in dim light here, where there's little bits of light kind of coming in from streets above. You're not in total darkness, but effectively for now on, basically, you guys will be making disadvantaged attacks.
Okay, just wanted to double check that.
So let's see. We're going to have. Oh, they actually might not be able to reach all of you guys. What do we got for distances
Sounds like I'm
here?
about
Yeah,
to
so
fuck up.
looks like the first 3 of you. And not really. The idea of saying one's going to each of you doesn't mean that they're not like dashing. John, Wolf. No, Wolf's unconscious. Ooh. I should roll for him.
Do it.
Let's do. What is that? Let's do
In-
like a
in-
D. Each of
in
you
the
is
whole
2, 3 is 12, 4. Damn, there's no solid way to like really wait with 5 people. Um. hmm. I think we're gonna take a little bit away from her. Yeah, that's the solution. Wolf's gonna be 3, and she's gonna be 8. The other characters all represent 2 choices. And it still has a die slanted. You don't have to be that realistic that you roll a die that gets caught up on the edge of the die roller. So I still rolled against 2 of them are just going for Wolf. Oh wait, no, Wolf was not 1. 1 is John. So
do
we got
it.
2 on John. 3 was him. So 4, 5 is damn it. 4, 5, and then 6 is Briff. 6, 7 is Briff. Alrighty. So you've got 3 rats passing by you with John. You want to make an unarmed strike at one of them.
Yes, please. That's gonna be a 21 to hit.
Solid hit. They've got 1 hit point. It's dead.
All right, reach out and just stomp the little bastard as he runs by.
Let's see. 1, 2. It was the one on Briff. Got it. 1 I pulled. Alrighty, so now the rats are going to, two of them biting into John. Like the 12, no 12. Oh, we're gonna go for a 3 or a 20, 3 or a 2. Oh, what's it gonna be? Big ol' miss. And then the second one biting into John. It's back to slow, so it was not simply that I closed Owlbear Rodeo.
You got a bunch of stuff running in the background?
But it shouldn't be. Owlbear Rodeo shouldn't worry about how much stuff I have open, but I really don't. 13 misses, John. I think your AC is 14.
Yes, it is.
So this will be on Dalton. Looking for a 14 for a hit. We got a 6 and an 8, 6 and an 8, 3 and an 11, 19, 19 and a 16, 19 and a 16. Do we have a 19 and a 16? We got a 16 and a 6. It's going to go to the 9. Big ol' miss, 6 and a 9, 6 and a 9, 69 is still a fail. And then on to
69 is never a fail.
Riff.
Fucking sacrilege. Can't believe that word just came out of your mouth.
I don't know if Dalton wants to be 69 with a couple of plague rats. And Biff is the one who's going to suffer through all of this. But I think we said his AC was going to be 16. I got a 15 and a 16. Big ol' miss. So yeah, as these little rats kind of swarm over you all as well, they're all going to kind of just like leaping onto you and biting at you. Seemingly do next to nothing at all. Kind of makes sense why they have a 0 challenge rating, because they add nothing to the actual combat. It will go back around to the top of the order with John. Wolf is on the ground being swarmed by one of these piles of rats. You've got a couple of them on you, as well as a couple on your friends behind.
I'm going to... Yeah, I've got 2 basically right on top of me, right?
Indeed.
It's an action to draw my swords, isn't it?
Free action to drop your bow. You can drop your bow. Free action, draw 1 sword. You can make an attack with that 1 sword. Otherwise, you can basically take a shot with your bow at disadvantage.
Yeah, I'll drop my bow, and then I'm going to pull out one of my swords and make an attack at one of the ones at my feet.
Gotcha, just one of the little guys. Let's just get a normal roll there to hit.
That is an 11.
Actually, my bad. When I said normal, I should have said disadvantage. Do you want to shoot your bow if you're at disadvantage regardless? There's no light.
Yeah, fuck it. Might as well. Same deck.
Gotcha. So your first roll was an 11. Second roll?
That would be a 12.
Gotcha. The 11 will hit. With the little rat, that's a kill.
Yeah. Just thunk.
And then I need a D20 from you for Wolf's death saving throw.
Big money, no whammy. That is going to be a 9, so that's a fail.
And then we are going to the rat swarm. I think this is where it's going to be 1 through 4 is Wolf, and the others will be the rest of the party.
So, if he gets hit again while he's on death save,
He's dead. If he gets bit right now, which he will be about to be, he's going to die outright.
Well, fuck.
Seems kind of silly that they are on top of something swarming it, but they're still technically blind. Even though... Oh, wait, this should be a straight roll. And the first one was the 5. So a straight roll is still a miss. Biting into him, they're not very successful. It's going to go to Dalton.
All right, so Dalton is looking at the remaining swarm. He's going to try his words again and again cast Vicious Mockery.
DC, what is it, 13 for you?
Yep, 13.
Gonna stop on a 5. Was that 2 the damage from it?
Yep, 2, and it has disadvantage on its next attack roll.
Gotcha. And any, bonus or movement from you? Otherwise, we'll go to Briff.
Yeah, he's going to bonus action give another, again, some more inspiration, bardic inspiration to John with his bonus action. Otherwise, staying still. And Briff is laying into this remaining swarm with his hand axes. First one will be a 15 total to hit.
15 will hit. Briff is attacking the small little rat, or was that at a swarm?
At the swarm.
Gotcha.
Oh,
solid
are there
hit then.
still 2 swarms left, or I thought maybe we killed one, or are there 3 total?
No, 1 swarm's dead.
Okay, yeah. So I'm assuming he can hit the remaining one in his reach.
Yeah. Did he make a second attack at it, or did you roll the damage yet?
So just roll the damage. So that should be 4 damage on the first attack. No, so that's a 9. So a 14 on the second attack,
That will hit.
or 1 damage. He's also otherwise basically standing where he is with these rats on him. So that will be it for him.
All right, so John's gonna be. Yeah, I feel like each of you will have is 1. And then we'll just do the normal initiative, like the normal initiative base. So the first one is going after 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be Briff. Second one is going after. Don't fucking hit on a corner. 2 is John, and the third one, go on Dalton so they don't actually move. 5, I think that's Dalton, so they don't actually move. So we got a rat on each of you. That's going to be how I do things from now on. Just a bulk of them. So it's every 2. The number you guys see means nothing at all. Oh, I'm not even sharing mine? It's not even showing up on my stream? Does it only show up once it's finished moving? You guys don't have to wait for all of this bullshit that I sit through. So 7's a big old miss, then a 1's a big old miss, and I think an 11 against Dalton is still a miss.
Yep.
So all the rats kind of trying to chew at you guys are still effectively ineffective. We're going to go back up to John. You've got a rat on you still chewing. You've got rats on top of Wolf to your side. There's more behind you. It's dark here. Everything's disadvantaged. And Dalton is... Did we discuss, like, you're not like a singing bard, right?
No, he's more of like an order. He does have he left his loot at, I believe, but
I got you. Yeah. But the idea is you're not like a songster. So for whatever it is, like his inspiration is more like for right now, kind of like motivational speaker kind of stuff. But you do have, I think both of you still have inspiration. But this is another round of bardic inspiration for that extra d6 after the fact. Oh, did we lose you, Chase? You still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking to my wife for a second. What's up?
All good. We're back around to you. You've got a rat on you. You've got darkness around you, so you're disadvantaged on attacks kind of regardless. You have normal inspiration, and you have bardic inspiration right now. Wolf's on the ground. There's rats on all of your friends and yourself. What would you like to do?
I didn't say it, but I would like to take my normal inspiration. You want me to reroll?
What is it? You've already rolled 2
19 to
there.
4.
You can take it here. What are you doing? You're attacking the swarm?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the swarm off Wolf, so I'm just gonna let one fly right in the middle of them all.
Gotcha. Roll for damage.
That's 4 plus 3, 7 total.
Gotcha. And I think death save for Wolf. Just a D20.
That is a success. So we're 1 and 1.
And then it will go to the swarm. The swarm is going to attack Dem.
Oh no, 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 no. Level 1 fights are so intense, man.
Yeah, still gonna be a big ol' miss there. No strikes. And it's gonna go to Dem.
All right, so Dem is seeing his words are having nothing, but now this swarm's coming after him, so he's going to stab out with his rapier. For a 15 to hit.
Was that disadvantaged?
Yes, it was a 10 and a 19, and he's got a +5.
Gotcha. Solid hits. Roll for damage.
5 damage. And I think he's going to he's got his drawing out his dagger in his offhand, stabbing it trying to stab into the same swarm. Okay, so 20 disadvantage should hit or 4 damage.
4 more.
Yep. That is it for him. And Briff is laying into the same swarm with his axes. Should be at 20.
Solid hit.
Second one would be a 10.
10 also hits.
Okay, so first one for 4 damage.
Gotcha. So as he's kind of striking out at them, with that like next hit, like all of the rats are kind of falling dead again, kind of dragging the ones that still remain living to the ground as like the mass of dead bodies becomes more than the mass of actual bodies. And they will fall to the ground.
All right, he's breathing heavy, kind of rat guts all over him, but that is it for Briff.
Let's see. We got a rat on each of you. So same thing. We'll do the one as the same person, and then otherwise the same initiative. Oh, 3's gonna be one's going for Wolf. 2 is John, and 5 is so I think we're basically going. Oh, fucking hold. Bam, we're gonna move like that. And we'll go for what is it? John, Wolf, Dan. Oh, the 19 turned into a 1. I was the one that mattered. Looks like they're all. Oh, it's back to 19. Oh no, that was a big one. So 10 is a miss on John. 17 will hit and kill Wolf. And 12 will miss Dem.
Yep, 12 misses.
The little itty bitty rat that does a single damage on a crit is a kill. So that's going to kill off Wolf. It's going to go back around to John. You've got a rat on you. There's a rat still on the ground, kind of gnawing into Wolf. And you can kind of hear some to the south of you. What would you like to attack?
I want to just lash out at the one that just killed him and try to shoot it.
Might not have heard that. Still disadvantage. You do still have the bardic inspiration if you want to manipulate after the fact.
So that's going to be a 19 to hit. So I rolled
A solid hit.
17, and that's going to be 11 damage.
If you actually did 11 damage, I don't think there would even be a tail left.
He literally got hit by the arrow and exploded into many different pieces.
So another rat down. You've got no sidekick. We're going to Dem.
All right, Dem is trying to stab out at this last one, kind of this last one on him. He's going to use up his inspiration, his rapier attack.
Just go for a straight roll there.
Yep. Okay, so a 22.
Solid
that
hit.
one out.
Pretty much auto kill. Yep.
And he wants to stay there, protecting Kiljean. Not in the dark, doesn't want to throw his dagger at this other rat, so that's it for him. Brip is just trying to finish off this last one on John. 10.
Solid hit.
And that should be, that'll be for 9 damage. That should kill it.
Gotcha. Yes, so each of you roll a D20 and a D100 for me, please.
That is a 4 and an 88 for me.
I got an 8 on the D20 and then a 22 on the D100.
I'm not sure if that works out how I was expecting it to work. So, you can collect 4 rat tails that are full from the 2 swarms. And pretty much comes down to almost like perfectly how you guys rolled, that you can collect 8 rat tails that are pieced together from a bunch of pieces of rat tail, but none of them are like remotely whole.
Looks like it's going to be rat tail soup for dinner.
And once the kind of the rats are done, then we'll get like another torch. He'd take out a torch, get that lit, so we can actually see.
And you can also recover that the lantern too.
Oh, okay. I meant to ask if that was still functional.
Not presently functional now. Like an actual torch gives you guys light now, but not like the lantern itself is just soaked. Yes. So let's see. Sundays is normally the night I kind of have to jet early, so I'm going to try to kind of wrap this up almost narratively, and give you all like a little bit kind of maybe while I get dressed, so I can hopefully have more time and not have to stop before we finish. But I think the general kind of happening will be Um, I'm not going to make you roll again. I really want to make you roll again because I think it's always the potential to always have further escalations. But if we actually rolled another encounter, that would be horrific. So we're gonna kind of come up into the light. You all will see kind of Kaljin is kind of definitely like blinded for quite some time. It's been a long time since she's seen light, let alone like from the torch and the lantern, let alone the actual sunlight overhead. So the sunlight is certainly going to be blinding for her. Among some of the first things that she'll kind of look for is certainly asking like what district we're coming up in. You guys know it's the guild district. And she's going to ask basically for you all to take her back to the temple district.
Yeah, I'm gonna take her. I'm also gonna take Wolf's body there as well. That way we can do something about, getting him buried.
Yeah, and once we're kind of up back in the surface, is going to take some time, kind of probably as we're walking, trying to like make us look a little more presentable using prestidigitation. I'm sure we won't smell very good, but at least like trying to get rid of some of the stains and all that. Um,
Yeah, I think the collection of like rat tails kind of dangling from you all, kind of like a like when you go fishing, you got like the little like line with like it's just like a cross little piece of metal that you put through the fish's gills. I figure you guys have kind of like a length of rat tails that you're basically like dangled. People might act a little bit off until people start to recognize that you've actually like been slaying rats, and it kind of makes a little bit more sense as it happens. You gain a lot less attention inside of the guild district than when you actually make your way out of the guild district. Again, this is definitely the district where like stinky and kind of dirty doesn't necessarily mean you're not like made of gold. But kind of making your way. Yeah, I don't have her particular priest in mind. I'll give you guys a name for the priest at a later date. I know I've got it in here somewhere. But she's asking for a particular priest of the actual Temple of Lothian. There's many of those temples inside of the temple district. In particular, she is not looking for one of the biggest. There's a few really large temples of Lothian, one of which is in the temple district, but it's also not the one she's looking for. She kind of asks to go to a little bit smaller of a temple when she asks for that, giving you all a particular name of said priest. And she's going to take you all there. Let me have everybody roll. Who got wounded today? I wrote down Wolf and Dem were the ones who got wounded. Did anybody else take any damage?
No, I don't think I got hit once.
and I don't think Briff ever went down.
Gotcha. So let me get a Constitution saving throw from Dem, please. And just because you don't have to make it for Wolf, but can you roll a Constitution saving throw for me? Just I think what was the monk? He didn't have con, so a 10.
Yep.
And that will be a 5 for Dem.
So yeah, when she has you all take her to the temple district, the priest will be certainly extremely excited to see her returned. Um, Let me get insights from both of you.
11.
Is yours straight with the 13?
16. No, that's gonna be a 16. Sorry, I was looking at what my plus was.
Gotcha. Maybe a little bit clearer to John than to Dalton. But this is not like father and daughter. This is something else. Dalton might not necessarily be like looking for as much from their interactions, but John kind of picks up a little bit that this might be a little bit more of kind of a romantic thing than a familial thing that she's returning to. But the priest kind of thanks you both, um, offers you both a reward. Um, kind of pulls out a bag of coin. Do either of you have any hesitation or any desire to ask for something?
I'd rather
Or
him consecrate Wolf's corpse and get it buried properly instead of my split.
And assuming Dalton is um aside from when he's hurt, but um he will kind of he'll try to look a little abashed about taking the coin after John's much more um kind of morally righteous request, but yeah, Dalton's interested in the
so when he kind of takes a look at Wolf, and kind of like sees some of the bites and some of the marks, kind of looking up at you all with a little bit more of concern. Have you all been in the sewers? And he'll kind of look over to Kaijin. Have you been this whole time beneath the city?
We found her bound and chained in a fucking rat hole.
His wounds already bear the signs of the plague. And they'll kind of move closer to Kaijin and kind of looking closer even to her. You two are already sick. Please, all of you, allow me to see if you two are wounded by these beasts. Looking over all of you, you will see these signs in Kaijin, Wolf, as well as Dem. All of you have the sewer plague. As far as his assessment goes, um, he's going to ask each of you to spend a day in the actual temple, where he will take some time to help cleanse you. And he's going to ask each of you to spend that day in isolation. And those of you who are actually sick, he would like for you to stay for 4 days.
Yeah, so Dem kind of his face kind of pales, he blanches a bit when he hears like plague and recalls that, oh crap, I've been bitten too. Um and I feel like that is something that would be enough to kind of like kick the thought, like the kind of the greed for the gold out of his head. So he will readily acquiesce to the us to essentially spend some time in isolation in the temple.
Aye, Father, I believe we can make that work. I'd be more than happy to stay.
So yeah, over the next few days, he'll kind of clear everybody. Effectively, he kind of takes a little bit of time to basically over the next like today and tomorrow, to do kind of ritual restorations for each of you. Today he'll do one for all of those of you who are sick. Basically, Kaijin, Dem, and Wolf, to kind of stem the plague. And then across these 4 days, he continues the ritual for each of you to help actually cure you of the plague you already have. while maintaining the others of you. For what is it? The second day, he'll be able to cast the spell to kind of clear each of you to leave like afterwards. So what is that? John, Briff, right? Yeah, John and Briff will be kind of clear to go about their things the next day. They don't have to stay isolated after that first. And then the others will kind of maintain across those 4 days where he confirms things. But effectively, your contact with the priest is enough that he can cure you of the plague here. Let's see. Let me have 2d6 from Dalton, and then a d6 from John.
That's gonna be a 4 from me, boss.
And 8 for me.
Gotcha. So you can collect another basically 4 gold for each of you here, and that technically includes Brifford. Depending on how you are doing things for your sidekick, Justin, you can kind of decide whether you're like keeping gold for the 2 of you and kind of accounting for he gets part of it, or whether you're just kind of like not necessarily doing so. You can just write down 4 for you right now. But he will give you all gold lions, kind of regardless. You can see that this man is very much vested in Kaijin. You can certainly see signs across these days where he has kind of a changing attitude based on like when any other clergy is around, he's definitely far more kind of like standoffish. You can see this man is hiding something from his very nature when he is around her. And you can kind of see at some point, maybe even this is another moment where John's actually around getting blessed at one point when like another priest walks by and he's just got like this super shady moment where he's just like plague victims, yes, women. And just kind of like has something where it's just like, wow, can you be more clearly in kind of the wrong right now?
One of the
And
times I see Dim during this whole experience, I'm gonna look at him and go, "A gold piece says the priest is fucking her."
I might be an inveterate gambler, but I'm pretty sure you'd win that bet. Afraid I can't take it.
um and I think that's kind of a solid end point here. Um, there's another hook to the 2 of these. It's been too long since I've actually looked at it to do it off the tip of my head here, because I'm pretty sure it's basically to the effect of like you all know the 2 of these are kind of manipulative, like manipulatable. So you kind of have some room to kind of gain things from these 2. I'll have to kind of get back to you, but this is kind of just like there's rumors of things that you can accomplish basically between this priest and Kalishin. So that's kind of where they'll sit. You 2 both still have this rat den that you can go back to. And as far as things go for your rat tails, you guys can collect on those. I think I've got you at what, 3, 8, 20, I think 60 golden tails? No. 75 golden tails?
Yeah, so
That
we had
works.
13 coming out, and then plus the 8 stitched together, and the 4. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. So
You
John
said
take
13 coming out?
So I thought we had 8 small, 5 large, and then from the last fight we got 4 more small, and then 8 stitched together. But
But
maybe
also
that.
5 rats there. So that was like 17 more tails.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably lost track, so I will take
I
whatever.
had 8 inside of it. 2 rats in the rat folk. Oh, maybe I skipped over the one guy as well who was alone. 2 rats in the rat folk. The one guy who was alone. Okay, I see where I wrote down the tail there for you. So that's 4. And then 3 rat folk and 2 rats. For that should be 9 tails. And then the 17 at the end. So 26 total. 78 total gold.
That's good to me. I would say, if you're cool with it, give me 25 of it, and then you split the rest between you and your partner.
I think actually Dalton would. He would kind of, as he's recovering, he'd feel bad about Wolf, even though he didn't know him too well. Not. So he would say, like, take a little more, make a donation, something in his name. So he would essentially give. He would just want to still split it evenly. So give 39 to John.
Yeah, I would say also keep in mind that whenever you have somebody die, you can rob all their gold from them. So that's another reason to kind of like vaguely keep in mind what your hireling might be spending or might be consuming. But like in the long run, you can almost have their purses be combined.
Yeah, I'm kind of planning on trying to keep Griff's separate a little bit. Like let him have his own money and. But yeah, so Dalton would say, no, no, we'll split it, do what you want with Wolf's share and his memory or whatever, and just say, yeah, here's you take half.
Cool. I ain't gonna argue with you about it.
Yeah, he's greedy, but he's got a good heart deep down there somewhere. So
Yeah, so that's definitely one of those things. You guys kind of like tiptoed into the rat folk. If you didn't necessarily immediately turn with her, um, there's a lot more for you guys ahead there. Even with kind of turning down the actual kind of coin, you still got a little bit from saving her. Um, but like, there's definitely like more to be gained from those two. So right now, I think that's kind of where we can call things. You guys have those next two kind of like different thoughts here where I'll have to see the actual quest that those two are on because they have a cool little mini quest that like goes through a long kind of storyline inside of Ptolus. There's a lot to be gained from this like first little inn to like a bit of the transgressions of the church, and then got the rat folk, and you've got like the actual like delving into the underground. Dem knows quite well like real money in this place is by going deep into the actual underground.